There we go. We're live finally. I've been waiting for like 12 hours or something. And more than that, 20 hours. Jesus Christ, Crunchyroll. They never succeed with anything. They're terrible at everything they do. So hello, everyone. Here, of course, time to do the Crunchyroll roast, right? And let me tell you, I'm immediately in roast mode since I learned one huge news, right? Or news, whatever. I don't know. I learned it by waiting here. So first of all, right? Let me do this intro spectrum, right? So we're gonna talk about all the animes, and I like doing this stream here, right? We do it, once a year, subscribe to that song, right? I like doing this stream because I think it's fun, right? To just kind of talk about reviewing the animes. We can talk about, what is the best ending? What's the best opening? Or my favorite opening is, I don't know, Star Ocean. I like that opening. Right? So I think it's like fun, just like a review stream as well, right? Talk about the reviews. You guys can say what you like and so on. Right? And of course, we guess what Crunchyroll has picked, right? So that's the general structure. We're gonna go down here and we do anime of the year last, of course. Right? So we're gonna go like best original anime, etc. Right? And then we take best anime in the end, right? So that's kind of the structure, right? But first of all, let's just talk about why this is so terrible, right? So first, Jesus Christ, the time thing, the incompetence, so that's it, right? I thought this is basically Friday now, right? I thought it was gonna be Thursday. It's really, really weird that on their timer, they just had a timer, right? That timer was set until your time zone instead of just having a default timer, which is a very easy thing in code to fix. They haven't done that, right? So me, not living in California, I thought this was gonna be live, like yesterday, right? It's just ridiculous. And then, this $1 million company bought by Sony now for like $1 billion, right? You can't fix a goddamn timer for time zones. Incompetence is definitely there. But anyway, the biggest thing, right, they have to address before we even, go into this list, right, and we're gonna see how it addresses all, right, before we have to go into the whole thing, is this thing, right? So this thing here is crazy. This is on video, so this is insane. They don't have any fall animes, right? So there's no Chainsaw Man, right? There is no goddamn Pushita, no Power, no Makima, no Butchi. There's no Bleach, right? And I said earlier, when I made my thumbnail, check out my thumbnail, I made my thumbnail before I knew this. So I called out there's gonna be no Bleach, right? But it's no fall anime, there's no Bleach, it doesn't make any sense. The fall anime was like the strongest season in years, right? The fall anime was the highest, hype season, I think, in like maybe 3-4 years of anime, right? Like, I would say, in all the years of I'm doing anime on this channel, I think last season was probably the best season. Just overall, right? We had, of course, Spy X Family, Core 2, etc. Right? We have so many good animes, or hyped animes ever, or at least one of the best seasons, right? Okay, we can discuss if it's the best or the second best or whatever, but get point. It was a very good season. And I would say that fall season was the best season last year, right? I did my top 10 and so on, right? There's a lot of that from fall season, right? So not having fall, which I think everyone kind of agrees on, generally speaking, is the best season, and it's just weird. Yeah, like 3 out of 4. So the whole thing that they're ignoring fall just makes no sense, and we can test for many times. For that matter, I also want to point out to say that it's also very weird, because if you read the rules, does it retroactively means that they're gonna add in, and it's fine, like Butchi, okay? Not Butchi, I mean Bodhi, right? Bodhi, Osama ranking. That I think is fine, right? But that anime, of course, add, let's see, the second core, right? The second season, or whatever you call it, that ad in the winter last year, and the first ad in the fall last year. So that anime can add over, like half is 1 year, half the next year. If that anime can be in this category, I think that's fine, right? I had it in my own top 10, right? It's a very good anime. I love the anime, with healing and so on, Mama healing and so on. Love the anime, right? So Bodhi can be in this category, because the anime actually add both years, right? Perfectly fine with that. But because they set the rules, it now sounds like some animes that only add in fall 21 can be in this. What? And does that mean that all the animes then, again, Chainsaw Man, right? Bleach, so on, all these animes, Butchi, that only add in the fall of last year, or they only gonna be in the next year then? So we're gonna be here a year from now, in the 2023, right? In the Anime Awards of January 24, then we're talking about Butchi, Bleach, and like Chainsaw Man, then Pushita finally gets some screen time. I think that's insane. It's just insane. It doesn't make any sense. But maybe these rules is just something they've written really wrongly. And then we look, and we actually go into the categories. Maybe they are gonna have, Power, Makima, etc. Right? Perhaps we're gonna have it eventually. But yeah, this thing seems really stupid, right? So this is terribly, terribly stupid. And then lastly, they actually have removed, I think, best protagonist, right? I think so. Yeah, best main character. Sorry. Oh, sorry, live streaming. Yeah, sorry, but so they actually have removed best category, and this is great, right? Because I kept roasting them every year. Every year I have roasted them, right, on having something like best protagonist, because they never understand the word. That's also why the incompetence culture is so massive. And this is just, for me, this is mind-boggling, right? Because we can all discuss stuff like who is the best protagonist. I don't know, Denny wishes Dr. Stone or whatever. We can all discuss stuff, right? But end of the day, right, we have to at least agree on what the word means. We have to agree on that the protagonist is the main character. He's the guy doing the stuff, we follow him and so on, right? But in Crunchyroll, they objectively, literally, I mean this, right, doesn't know what the word means. Like last year in my whole Aaron is both category reaction, right, doesn't make any sense. Aaron is not simultaneously the protagonist and antagonist. He literally isn't. That's what the word means. And like I say every time, because they do this issue every year, is that a protagonist can be evil and an antagonist can be good, right? That doesn't define. Evil and good doesn't define who is the protagonist, who is the antagonist, whatever. That's not defined by ethical morals, right? So for example, if you have an evil main character, that is still the evil main character, right? Which means that that person is the protagonist, right? But Crunchyroll every year, puts them in the antagonist category, which never made any sense, right? So they don't know what word means. And I really mean that. They don't understand some of the words. So they even changed that category now. Because me and other people have been roasting them for years, because they never understand what that word means, right? So I think that's pretty good. In that sense, they're like, okay, we're just gonna stop even addressing that, right? Yeah, we're gonna pretend that. Yeah, we're gonna pretend they can't exist anymore. I think it's pretty funny. They're just like, okay, we give up. That's kind of what I see when I look at things. I'm like, okay, I guess they give up. But anyway, lastly then, of course, it's also very political, right? So for example, one reason Musketeers was ignored last year because they didn't fit their agenda, right? So it's just, that's also kind of funny, because you can usually guess what you're gonna have in categories just by looking at, well, you know, they're probably gonna push for animes like Lycoris Recoil. I like Lycoris Recoil, and one anime I think they're gonna have in almost every category is Cyberpunk, because this is always like a pretentious pick, right? Every year they have some pretentious anime, and again, I like Cyberpunk as well. I don't think it's a bad anime. I'm just saying that Crunchyroll, they always have a pretentious anime. Megalobox was the first one, right? And again, I like Megalobox, but they had it in every category except one. Yeah, in that year in Megalobox, it was insane. They had it in like 14 out of 15 categories. It didn't make any sense. It wasn't that good, you know. It was good, wasn't that good, right? So Crunchyroll always has their like golden child, which they put in every category. And I think Cyberpunk this year is gonna be the golden child. I think Cyberpunk is gonna be this like, oh, we're gonna have it in every goddamn category, and it's gonna be ridiculous. That's probably how it's gonna be, right? But anyway, let's get started. I'm gonna take something to drink here, man. I'll be waiting for so much. It's very late here now. I'm waiting for the whole day for everything. I'm living in Friday now, yeah. It's terrible how they used to have, how I say it, right? They never really succeed with this thing. Anyway, I might have to zoom in. So I don't wanna see them all at the same time, you know. I wanna see them like one on one. I just check one category which I don't care about. What's not care about? I don't care about like English voice actors, okay? Should we zoom in more? I'm just gonna get a good zoom here, because obviously this site didn't work before this, I couldn't check out before. We'll say this thing works. This works pretty well, right? We can go like one, we can go down one and one. Yeah, I think this pretty works. We can go down one and one, right? Okay. So we're gonna start. Let's start, guys. Wait, I'm taking anime of the year last, right? That's funnier. So we take anime of the, that's the last category, and we go best original anime, and then we go down right there. So. Okay, so best original anime. So I don't exactly know what they mean, but I suppose they mean that it doesn't have like a sequel. But the thing is that this is again how Crunchyroll probably is wrong, because by the definition, original anime would be an anime doesn't have like a light novel or a manga based on. For example, Butch is a manga, right? So you can't have Butch in here. But they also might just mean animes that have no sequel, right? You know what I mean? So for example, Bleach couldn't be in here because it's a sequel, right? Boruto couldn't be in here, right? Is that what they mean? I genuinely don't know what they mean, right? But I'm gonna assume that they mean best like original anime, like not based on anything. Then it's probably Lycoris Recoil, right? Edge Runner, Lycos Recoil. But Edge Runner would be count. Yeah, Edge Runner is based on a game. It wouldn't count. No, Lycos Recoil. Lycos Recoil is like the one I think they're gonna nominate, right? You know, that's gonna be probably the win, right? If that's what it means. Let's look it out. Okay, so best original anime. We don't care about this thing right here. Are they showing it in the trailer? I don't care about that. Yeah, for example, Birdwing. This shows that this category is crap then, because they're like best like Birdwing is not a very good anime. It's about girls playing golf, but it's pretty boring. I've seen it. Healy Girl again, not a very good anime. So it's like bad animes now. Yeah, this is the issue with having a weird category like best original anime. They're like, well, we only have like 4 or 5, because almost every anime is based on an isekai or something, or based on a light novel. Yeah, not many animes are. Lycos Recoil, as I said, is the obvious winner, right? Should we vote? Or can I select it? We vote. Oh, do I have to log in? So okay, whatever. I vote later then. But yeah, obviously my pick probably in this category. Again, not a very good anime. Vampire Garden, not a very good anime. Yurai. See, this is okay, whatever. I want to figure out this. This is not even like a category, right? This is what I meant. But at least I will give them credit if credit goes though. At least this category, original anime, it's literal original animes. Yeah, it is not animes that are, you know, oh, this is based on a game, or whatever. Yeah, this is animes that are really all original. Like they have no source material before this, right? And like I said before, I listed, Lycos Recoil is by far the winner, right? Yeah, like I said earlier. Lycos Recoil is then the winner. This, like, Lycos Recoil is the only anime here that's good, basically. This whole category is kind of pointless, because all the other animes are pretty terrible in this category, yeah. Because this is like Birdwing. I mean, I've seen it. It's not a very good show. Healy Girls are a very meh show, right? Like a meh animes. So, okay. Obvious winner, Lycos Recoil. I don't even count, okay. Best character design. Now, this is a category for me, especially as a game designer myself, right? I find this category very weird every year, because when I'm thinking about the character design, I don't just think about, I think about everything, you know, the lore, the backstory, but also the visual flair, right? How they're moving, the personality, whatever, right? So for me, it doesn't have to be flashy, but I mean, the character really stand out, right? But it doesn't have to be necessarily the best character. And for example, just throw something comparable out. One Piece, right? Doflamingo. I also have to arguably, in my opinion, the best character design. He really stands out, you know, with the pink boa, the muscles, you know, the glasses, right? He really stands out, right? You know, and then he has the personality, got his cool moves, right? That to me is a really good designed character, right? So I'm thinking immediately JoJo, right? Star Ocean characters. I guess this actually it is like the whole category. I think that's one anime. I would say Chainsaw Man, right? Has some good, interesting set design. Like Makima has an interesting character design, right? In the kind of evil, but I guess they don't have any fall animes when it comes to it. Bleach. Bleach, my boy, Bleach, man. We got my Bleach, we got all the Yurichis, we got all the... Bleach should probably win this, because it's one thing, right, that Kubo is it's a master of, is character design, right? If anyone that's seen Bleach, we all know that Bleach is the coolest anime ever. Bleach has always been on character design, the 10 out of 10, right? So that's my winner, easily. But now, of course, I don't think they have Bleach at all. You see the thumbnail, right? I think Bleach is like banned, right? And also because, again, Bleach, they lost the license about that. Bleach was bought by Disney, right? So Crunchyroll is never gonna have Bleach in the list, because they don't wanna involve that. But Bleach probably win this thing. But I guess they won't even be here, right? I mean, I guess Demon Slayer, yeah, it's very flashy. Budgie, I mean, I guess by its family has. I mean, Anya. I guess arguably Anya. I have Anya here. Yeah, I guess my little girl Anya is a good character. So that's true in Yor and so on. Well, yeah, I guess Marin, we got all the collection here. We got Marin, we got Anya. But the thing is that, I mean, I do love Marta Darling. I love it so much, right? But Marin, even though I love her, I got a freaking Maru figure here in my hands. But Marin is like the ultimate Gairu. I mean, it isn't arguably, she's kind of like a Gairu, you know? I've seen a lot of Gairu animes. It's not like maybe, I think she wins on her personality and how sweet the whole anime is. But I wouldn't really say character design for me is a visual thing most of it. It's not like the storyline. Yeah, and of course JoJo earlier. JoJo's gonna be there, right? And I mean Cyberpunk's gonna be like almost every category. I don't know. I mean, from a pure visual standpoint, I guess Cyberpunk I would say easily. This is like a character. Depends on what you mean with. Again, right? This depends on what you mean with. You know, like Poshita, right? is this a good character design? I think so. It's like a dog with a chainsaw. It's been a cool character design, right? Even if I don't know his personality, even before I know that, or whatever, I kind of like how it looks, right? I like how it visually looks. Is that what this means? Because then I think Cyberpunk easily has the best character design. Again, from that visual standpoint, right? Much so, I would say so. Like I said, I love Marin, but I don't think Marin has a good... It depends how you look at it, right? But it's like, yeah, it's like a Gyro, so it's like... I actually think that Boo doesn't have that good character design. Depends how you look at it. I mean, yeah, again, I love Mom. Mama Healing is like the best mom ever. But is that what you call character design? I just don't like this word, because what do they mean, right? I'm really adamant guy. What do they mean with the word character design? Because if you mean something like best writing, I think that Mom, right? Mama Healing, she's like best supportive character, basically, right? Yeah, I think it's a category later. That's probably how I put Mama Healing, right? Like the best Horokage. But that's character design. I mean, I'm gonna go with like a Trigger. I think it's Cyberpunk probably. But anyway, let's go on. Best animation. I mean, Demon Slayer, I guess. Best animation is always Demon Slayer. Yeah, Demon Slayer, right? Demon Slayer, Chainsaw Man. Oh, I guess Attack on Titan did air last year. It has some good moments. What more do we have? Star Wars has some good scenes. Cyberpunk does have some really good scenes, though, of course. Cyberpunk is up there as well. So you're probably going to have Cyberpunk, Demon Slayer, Made in Abyss has some good scenes. Lycos Rica has some really good scenes. Summertime Render has some really good scenes as well. I think they're also ignoring Summertime Render. They're gonna claim it's because it's not translated or whatever in English, something like that. But it's because Disney owns it, right? So they don't want to give Summertime Render. So I don't see people. I read people Twitter saying, "Oh, Summertime Render is gonna sweep." I'm like, Summertime Render. It's owned by Disney. They're not gonna have Summertime Render in it. Summertime Render, just like Bleach and so on, it's a Disney show, guy. Isekai isn't the Crunchyroll. Those animes are gonna be ignored. Have you never seen it before? Isekai is an ecchi anime, somebody said that, and Isekai isn't owned by Crunchyroll. They're not gonna have Isekai here. I'm just like, no, they're not gonna have that shit. But okay, that's what we have. At least I got soft. Yeah, I said Attack on Titan. Yeah, I was like, yeah, Attack on Titan. Cyberpunk, I said as well. It's gonna be every category. It's every category, definitely. Demon Slayer, yeah. I feel like, well, yeah. Oh yeah, Spike's Family too, of course. Pretty straightforward, right? The high budget shows. I think it's obviously Demon Slayer. Yeah, purely like quality animation, it is Demon Slayer. Like the Demon Slayer fight, you know, with the last end fight. I won't spoil it, but you can point to the last two fights are just like breathtakingly good, right? And this category is just purely animation, right? Yeah, so I think that easily probably should win. Spike's Family is genuinely better animated than what I think. Yeah, Spike's Family has some other scenes that are, I would say, like the day-to-day episodes of Spike's Family. It's like a slice of life show with amazing quality, right? But yeah, if you're talking about highest quality, like that one scene, then it's Demon Slayer, definitely. Okay, best new series. So this is different. How is it different than best original? Isn't it the same thing, right? Yeah, what's the difference between best original show and best new series? I guess in best new series, you would also include your shows that are based on mangas. I mean, I guess, is it new? But I suppose, for example, Spike's Family would be included, even though it's based on a manga. So it isn't actually new in that sense, but it's new as an anime. I suppose so, because the next category is best continuous series. So then it would be like Bleach, My Hero Academia, and so on, right? So okay, best new series. What we're gonna see, right, every year in Crunchyroll is they have basically the same animes over and over again, right? The issue is that the judges, you take an Oscars, right? The judges, they only watch very few animes. Let's be honest, they do. They will claim they are big anime fans, but they aren't. This is bullshit, right? Most of the judges, use it Oscars or whatever, they only watch the few big shows, right? Crunchyroll is like, these are our most popular shows, these 20 shows, watch them, right? So, for example, none of the judges have probably seen, you know, Virgin Road, right? Excursion to the Virgin Road. Very unlikely, right? None of them have seen some of these more obscure animes. The likelihood of them seeing Isekai-san is very low, right? You know what I mean? That's just an honest fact, right? So what we're gonna see here, right, in best series, is all gonna be basically Crunchyroll shows, and it's gonna be the big shows. It's gonna be Spike's Family and similar shows like that they wanna push, right, because it's on their streaming site, right? It's not gonna be based on actual new shows or and so on. So this is also gonna be the big things. it's a big issue, right? It's never really gonna be anything else than just the same ongoing big shows, right? And yeah, the opposite skipping fall. Call of Night is pretty good, so that good. I mean, it has a goddess in it. Cyberpunk, as I said, is going to be in every category because it's a potential show this year, right? Every category. Lycos Rico is going to be in, as I said earlier too, almost every category because it's a huge show of the year. They're skipping Gundam, I guess, because it ad in the fall. And yeah, but it's a Darling Horse, best show with Spike's Family. Yeah, it's Yaibo Kiming is not a good show, come on, so that's good. But yeah, I mean, they're obviously going to have these shows, like these are going to be the 4 shows they're going to have every time. Like Cyberpunk, My Death Darling, Spike's Family. Like I said, it's going to be the same, top shows all the time, right? And they're not going to watch these other shows like Isekai for example, right? And that's just why Crunchyroll Rewards also has no real purpose, right? Because, again, I've seen all these animes, right? And I've seen 50 more animes at least, right? And this is definitely a shitty list. Like a complete shit, right? Not because I hate the anime. I mean, I like the anime, like this. I like all of, except this anime's pretty meh, right? But 5 of the animes are pretty good. That being said, though, there exist a lot better animes than some of them, right? For example, Butchie is better, right? But now, of course, we're ignoring Fall. Okay, fine. What more? As I mentioned, Isekai-san is definitely better than, for example, Yaibo Kongming. It's not even close to Isekai-san, right? But the thing is, again, right? Crunchyroll, they're never gonna nominate shows that are either too ecchi or whatever, right? Or they're too obscure, right? Like, they're not on their channel. So shows on Netflix are gonna be mostly ignored, except Cyberpunk because it's the biggest show, right? But they're gonna know all Netflix shows. Where's Summertime Render, Like, where is Summertime Render? They're gonna ignore Summertime Render, right? Because Summertime Render is on Disney. I said again, Summertime Render is not gonna be showed anywhere because they're gonna claim that, oh, but it's only translated halfway through on Disney, so it doesn't count or whatever. And they say that, right, because they don't want to give Summertime Render any free commercial, right? Because that's what it's about. That's why Crunchyroll Award is a terrible award too, because it's run by a company that has clear incentive, right, to promote their own stuff, right? We at least at the Oscars is owned by a big corporation, but still, at least the Oscars is somewhat trying to be neutral to some extent. But honestly, Crunchyroll Awards, right, is extremely not neutral because it actually isn't an anime award; it's a Crunchyroll award, right? With an addition, maybe one Netflix show can be there. So this here is terrible. Because there are way better shows than Yaibo Kongming. There's no way this is in the top 6 of best new animes. That's complete bullshit, right? And then we have best new going shows. So we're not gonna have like Bleach. It's not gonna be in here, which is gonna be ridiculous. And what we have there, we have My Academia. I guess we have One Piece. What do we have here then? Shows, Made in Abyss, I guess. Shows that has Kaguya-sama, of course. Yeah, Kaguya-sama, Mob, but they're not gonna have Mob either because Mob is also in the fall. But it's so stupid. Oh my god! So they're not gonna have Mob. They're not gonna have Mob Psycho. So it's gonna be like Kaguya-sama, Made in Abyss, and I guess One Piece and like Boruto or something. Yeah. Okay. That's sorry about that. I think on Titan, yeah, it's doing Demon Slayer. Yeah, they're gonna have the big shows. Yeah, whatever. Obviously, Yodio, Kaguya-sama, Made in Abyss. Yeah, One Piece. They're gonna. It's just gonna be like. It's gonna be the obvious one. Kaguya-sama, Made in Abyss. Yeah, like One Piece, right? Yeah, I guess so. These are the obvious ones. But here I kind of have to agree with them though, to some extent, because if the category is only like best shows that are has been ongoing, then obviously we have to remove like 80. That's what I meant earlier. This category kind of makes sense because it's like whatever, yeah, like best old shows, right? But this is what this category made no sense. The best new shows, right? Because basically 80 or so percent of the animes, maybe 70% is in this category, right? And then this category is less than the next 30%, something, maybe 20%, right? So this category is way larger, way more animes in new shows than ongoing shows, right? Because ongoing shows are shows like One Piece or one. So it's way fewer shows here, and then you ignore like Pokemon and so on, yeah. And then you another shows for other shows. But anyway, so ignore those shows, and then again look at the new series. How the hell did a show like Yaibo Kongming in there? Like, this is not top 10 new shows, man. This is complete bullshit, man. And same thing with like Call of Night. Again, I like Call of the Night, it's like my favorite voice actor, man. It's freaking Sora doing a horny vampire, so I like it. But come on, it's not top 6 this year of new animes. It's just ridiculous. Another absolute shitty list, man. This made sense though, because they only have the One Piece, Attack on Titan, so on. Yeah, that doesn't even have many options. Okay, best opening though. This is always absolute shit. no, but best opening is always so insane because usually, right, they ignore stuff like Dumbbell. I remember Dumbbell was going, right, everyone was loving, like, how much do you, Benko Presso! Everyone was loving that opening, but it was itchy, right, so they refused to have it, right? Dragon Maid, did they have Dragon Maid? They hated every anime, right, there's any kind of, like, Oppa Shake or whatever, or ignored, right, even if they're super catchy songs, right? They never have, Black Clover, that's a classic, yeah, they never have Black Clover, right? Every year people rant that they never have Black Clover, and I of course agree. Black Clover is so amazing opening 3, opening 10. All of them are amazing, especially 3 and 10. It's so good, right? And they never have like shonen openings. They never have One Piece, Black Clover, Bleach. Doesn't matter. They never have shonen openings, which is just really stupid, right? You're like, my God, they hate shonen openings. It doesn't matter, right? If you're shonen, it never gets in opening categories. This is how it is. Maybe they changed this year, but in the previous years they refused to have Black Clover. And I remember that shit got the data for that. And Black Clover opening 3 had like something like 13 million views on YouTube in total on different channels, right? Opening 3 watching it. And the ones they had, like at Griscope, they had like 10,000 views, right? Now I'm not saying that just because something is popular is better, but I'm just saying that, that's a call of, that's a fallacy. But I'm just saying that population fallacy, if you ignore that, 10,000 views, which is 13 million views, right? I'm just saying that they're telling me something that the people at least want to vote for Black Clover, because it would have won, okay? It would have won at least. The popularity vote was pretty clear, so they refused to have it there, right? So what we're gonna have this year then? Okay, what we're gonna have this year? Like what is the opening that's really good? Yai Boy Kongming, which is a great opening. I don't think the anime is very good, right? And Pia Roshi is not a big animes, but the opening, the opening is fantastic. So that's obviously gonna be in here. They already have it in the best new anime, which is really stupid, but an opening at least is very good. Demon Slayer, Kaguya-sama opening is fine. Chainsaw Man has a good opening. The endings I think are better, right? But it's a good opening. But I guess it's not fall anime, whatever. Spy X Family, likewise, right? That is, Spy X Family is probably my favorite opening, right, of last year. And I don't know. So does that count? Because their rules are so stupid now. Their rules are so dumb, right? So because there's no Chainsaw Man, there's no Chainsaw Man here, so right? So I don't even know how it works here, because I would say, right, again, that Spy X Family opening 2 is better than opening 1, in my opinion. But does that count? Can I put opening 2 into this here? Because opening 2 aired in the fall time slot, right? But the anime started in the spring. So does Spy X Family opening 2 count? Like, I don't understand the rules. The rules don't make any sense. But that's probably what I would pick, right? Yeah, Spy X Family opening 2 is better than opening 1. So if that counts, then that's probably here. I like Lucas Regal opening. What more do we have? Not a good catchy openings they might have here. My Darling. That opening is great with Marin, of course. My Marin-san, yeah, that opening is great. She's like, yeah, let's go, you. That opening is great. It's really fun. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's whimsical. That opening is probably here. The opening is really good. It's really good. Very, very good opening. And ending also very good. And I love if it also actual singer's ending, her version of it. She does cosplay as Marin in the ending. She song is really good. That's gonna be here. What more do we have? What more opening, guys? Star Ocean opening is really good too. Yes, I love this opening too. Yeah, Star Ocean is really good with the bullet flying and so on. That arguably might be the best opening then if you don't have fall openings. Okay, let's look it up. This is obviously one of the most like controversial categories of opening. Okay, so we have that opening. I said earlier, yeah, this opening is great. And the anime, as I mentioned, the anime is like, but the opening, the opening is fantastic, right? So I said opening, obviously there. Yeah. Now I'm wondering, is this opening 1 or 2, right? Is Mixed Nuts opening 1 or 2? Now I'm a little bit like, I can't remember which opening is what. Spy X, what is the second? No, it isn't, right? Because that second opening is by Bump of Chicken, so that opening is called something else, right? Mixed Nuts is opening 1, right? Yeah, that's done this exactly. Same thing with Tokyo Revenge and so on. Exactly. So that is not the. So that is opening 1. See, this is so stupid. They are so stupid. I mean, I hate Crunchyroll. Seriously, I hate it. It's just so dumb. This is so dumb. I mean, I'm very repetitive, but it's just like... I hate this so much, man. I mean, let's just be fair, right? I like opening 1 as well of Spy Family. Opening 2 is the best opening last year, arguably. Right? And it's just like, this is why the rules are so stupid. Because Spy Family aired the whole show last year. It started before the fall, right? And if I have to compare the openings, I would obviously pick opening 2 over opening 1. In my opinion, it's much better than opening 1. Even opening 1 is good, opening 2 is like 10 out of 10 opening in my opinion, right? So it feels absurd to me that if I would care about the shitty award system, why can't I vote for the second opening, right? Which I think is like twice as good as the first opening. It's just so stupid. I'm so tired of how could Sony buy them for like $1 billion? How are they the biggest anime like streaming site? How did this happen? You know, they used to do illegal stuff, right? You know Crunchyroll was a pirate site before they turned legit, right? Yeah. How did this become reality? We're living in the worst timeline. This just doesn't make any sense. It's like, how can I not vote for opening 2? Maybe it's coming in the list as part, but it's just stupid, right? Okay, so what more is here then? That is a good opening though. Is that opening 2 then? Yeah, it is, right. The rumbling, of course. That. Okay, the rumbling probably wins then. I think the rumbling. I forgot the rumbling. Yeah, okay, fine. The rumbling is the best opening here easily. Of these openings, the rumbling is by far the best opening. But I kind of forgot the rumbling. You know, Attack on Titan is like Attack on Titan is like, what is it? Part 3, season part 2, final season final edition part 2. These announced that this week, right? It's gonna be another final part, right? You know what I mean? It's gonna be final part 3, 4, 5, right? Whatever. I forgot the rumbling ad last year. Yeah, the rumbling is the best opening, I would say. I would easily vote for the rumbling here. It probably wins. It's a really good opening. The best thing of the whole season is the opening. But the opening is fantastic. Visually it's amazing, right? The song is amazing. How the whole scenery at the ending with Eren screaming, right? And it's transforming in the ending. It's beautifully done. Like the storytelling was beautiful. The rumbling is by far the best opening. Like by far. I think it beats it. These openings here are nothing compared to the rumbling. I think the rumbling is like twice as good at least. These other openings are nothing compared to the rumbling, right? As I said, but if I had to compare it to, for example, Spy X Family opening 2, right? The whole super wholesome, sweet opening where they drive in the car, Anya's playing around, you know, like that would make me cry, man. That would make me cry, right? If I compare it to opening 2 of the rumbling, then I would be like, ooh, because the rumbling, incredibly like, yeah, let's go and kill everyone. Or super sweet family time. They're so different, right? They're so different. They're extremely different, right? But then I have a hard time comparing them. But now I got the rumbling compared to crap, basically. No, the other openings are good too. Like, but this is a very elite opening. It's a good opening, but it's only not rumbling. But for example, right, this opening here is a good opening, very catchy, right? It's a good song, but it has no message, right? It's just like a good song. The rumbling has a good storytelling. It's a good song and has good storytelling. I think it's at least twice as good as as a song, right? Because it's more than a song. When you review opening, you have to look at the visual too. You can't just look at the song, right? So I think it easily wins. It's not even a question about me. And I think that this actually is probably, in my opinion, the weakest Demon Slayer opening. So that feels kind of weird why it's here. That is probably here is because, you know, the judge doesn't watch anime. Like every year, they have this like IGN guy that watches like 3 animes. So he's only seen Demon Slayer. No, but seriously, I'm being genuine. Genuinely. Half the judges has not seen any other animes than the big ones. Trust me, okay? Some of the judges have only seen like Cyberpunk, Demon Slayer, One Piece, you know. Most judges probably hasn't even seen Rank of, you know, that's the truth, you know. Most judges haven't seen the animes. This is to be honest here. So they probably is like, what? Okay, the best ending, obviously, it would be Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man should win every ending, right? Yeah. It really feels absurd sitting here. The absurdity sitting here, not having fall animes is just insane, right? Now coming here to best ending sequence. As we all know, they had 12 endings, 12 different endings in Chainsaw Man, and that doesn't count for this year. That is just absurd. We are living in the worst timeline. It doesn't make it. Crunchyroll should go bankrupt. No, but it doesn't make any sense. It's just so stupid. Now that being said, I mean, I'm not saying that every ending in Chainsaw Man is the best ending, but I'm just saying that if you look at the anime as a total, it easily wins. I mean, it has 12 different endings, and they're all amazing. I mean, it's obviously the best collection of endings, at least. but anyway, let's ignore that. I guess Spy's Family is probably our pick, right? The first ending is really nice when they're dancing on table and so on. Yeah, I think Spy's Family is probably what I would go for immediately. The bird ending a little bit, take a title maybe a little bit. Yeah, the bird ending. So that's the ending comedy. I love that singing. Toshino is a great singer too. Oh yeah, I mentioned earlier. I mean, I love the. The thing is that I really love the actual, what's called in Japanese, PV musical video of it. Yeah. If you look at this ending right, in anime, it's fine. But if you look at the actual singer's ending, when she's performing the song, she just is like Marin and sing and does the dance and so on. That's way better, yeah. It's way better, yeah. The live action ending, so to speak, is way better. She does the whole Marin dance in the ending. It's way more entertaining than the actual anime ending. So the actual Google her name and the actual ending is way better. Really? I can't even remember the thing. Komi-chan's ending 2. It's ending 2, right? The openings are they're visually pretty good, all of them, but okay, whatever. Kaguya-sama, I mean, yeah, the opening is better, but whatever. Okay, that's a good ending though, yeah. When she twerks basically. Yeah, I mean the ending is very ecchi, right? The ending of Vampire Call of Night is her like jumping into, like white foam, that looks like, juice, right? And it's like twerking in the juice. This ending, I'm surprised to have the ending here because yeah, it is the vampire, it's the Sora Amaya vampire. She's like dancing and jumping up and down with her ass in like champagne or something, and then she's kicking around like a city. So it's a good ending, but it's very, very ecchi, right? It's very, very sexualized. It's surprised to have it here, honestly. But like I said, yeah, I think comedy is like easy no-brainer, in my opinion. Okay, best score. So this is like the music for the fights and so on. It's like Naruto. Honestly, I'm like, I don't know really. Best score. I think I probably pick Spy's Family. Think about it. Yeah, Spy's Family has a really good high quality direction. I probably pick Spy's Family for like the best soundtrack, right? Let's see what they have. Yeah, Spy's Family feels like that's the best one, straight up. I wouldn't really give Cyberpunk. I think it's actually it's a game. Definitely. But it's like kind of weird. Do they count the insert music then? I guess. Because it's like a musical anime, so do they count the musical stuff in the anime then? I suppose they do, right? It's kind of a weird thing, but yeah, whatever. I guess they do. They type the thing in there too. Oh yeah, that's true. Made in Abyss, of course, is legendary for music. Okay, Made in Abyss weeks. Maybe that's my family. But yeah, Kevin Penking with it's really good. Made in Abyss. But this is you kind of see the same thing, right? Every year, Crunchyroll is so boring because, like I keep saying, it is every other award system, right? The judges don't watch anime. Most of them don't actually, right? And some of them have like, oh, I'm the whatever, GameSpot anime review or something, right? Yes, this guy watched a few animes, right? But the thing is that if you are the GameSpot reviewer or whatever, some kind of game magazine or whatever, right? Some magazine, some gaming or something like that, right? Forbes or whatever, right? Those guys, they don't sit and watch every anime. You know what I mean? They aren't like real anime fans. No, I'm kidding. But they aren't like hardcore anime fans. They're not gonna watch, all these other animes. They're only gonna watch Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan. That is the reality. They only watch the bigger shows, right? Because the only thing they write about on their magazine or on their gaming site or whatever, right? On whatever they have, right? Because most judges are basically like editors for different, sites and so on, right? Straight up, yeah. I honestly like one judge in the whole list that I have any kind of trust for. straight up, yeah. It's like one out of 4 judges. I'm like, that guy, I know him. He's trustworthy. 39, I was like, no, these people are not actually anime fans. Whatever, I don't care. But my point is that, and this is the factual truth, most of them only watch the popular. I keep saying it, but it's an important thing about. Most of them only watch the bigger shows, right? Because then I sit there on like IGN or whatever, right? And they're only gonna write about either controversial animes, like Gender Bender or Niche. Oh, this guy because I'm a woman and it's very ecchi. You know what I mean? They're gonna write about that side, right? Because it's like controversial and anime is evil, right? So they write about that, or they're gonna write about Demon Slayer is so beautiful. You know what I mean? They only have those two. They only have the biggest anime to talk about, or the anime that has the most hate, right? So they're all about the views, right? So and half maybe of the people judging are like that, right? So they have only seen the shows, right? That's what we're gonna have the same shows over and over again every category because they don't know any other show. That's the truth. But anyway, best film. It's gonna be like Bubble, which was a terrible movie in my opinion. I don't even know what movies I use. We had Quintuplets, I guess that was this year. I can't say any movie I was like wow. There was no anime movie I remember that really had Bubble. I call it Dragon Ball Super. Come on, like that. I won't say it's Dragon Ball, but oh yeah, it's a Kaisen. Does that count? This is also a weird thing because wasn't this movie actually out 21? I wanna say this movie actually didn't go out that year. Okay, this is the typical Crunchy bullshit, you know. Yeah, exactly. This movie aired 2 years ago. This movie is not counted as this year. It was released in 21, exactly. So this is also heavy Crunchyroll. To be fair, it was released on Christmas Eve, 24th of December. So certainly this movie did not air in America, whatever, until the next year. So I do get where they're coming from. In their defense, I get where they're coming from. This movie definitely did not air until, you know, the next year. This definitely aired the year afterwards in America, right? But it actually is a 2021 movie, so it's kind of stupid. I hate this thing. I say that all the time. I don't like it, you know. I don't like it when they take animes, and they do it every year. They take shows. What was it, like Kakegurui, I think it was? That it took like 2 years after because it was released in Japanese in like, I don't know, 16 or 17, whatever, I think it's 16. But it wasn't subbed officially until like 19, right? Or something like that, or 20, whatever. So they had it like 2 years later. But of course, everyone had already seen it, right? Either on, you know, obviously, yeah, or like me without subs, right? So we just like, this anime aired like 2 years ago. I mean, you're not even like remotely close, right? You're like, what are you talking about? Whatever. One Piece film Red, I guess that last year. That's true. The Deer King. I don't know, guys. Bubble is a visual anime with like no storytelling. I used it up. People hate it. Some people dislike me saying that, but I think it's a bad movie. Yeah, disappointed me. Because, I mean, I watched the movie, I was like, that's pretty okay. It's a very beautiful movie, but it really is like visual over substance. Because the storyline is like non-existing. It's a movie, you watch it and you're like, well, that was beautiful, but it really didn't give me any storyline. If you compare something like Silent Voice, right? Silent Voice is a manga, I know, but also a movie, right? I have the movie over there, if you compare Silent Voice, right? Silent Voice is like this really meaningful, you know, romantic, you know, life-death movie. It's like a meaningful movie, right? It's also beautifully done from a cross standpoint, but I mean, it's just like, it's a beautiful story, right? So, for example, Bubble to me is a joke, right? Compared to something like Silent Voice, right? Silent Voice is one of the best anime movies ever done, right? I'm gonna get the movie. I gotta be hyped up, guys. I'm gonna get the movie. I have the Blu-ray DVD. Where is it? That's under my, see, it's under my Switch TV here. So I think it's a good comparison, right? It is a good comparison. I have the movie here in my study. No. Yeah, I have it in my collection of movies. Here, right? Yeah. So this is a good example, right, of a movie that is. Well, we can zoom out a bit. What do I have here now? Probably Loom or something. Yeah. So this is Silent Voice, right? You know, this is like the best movie ever, anime movie ever. All will be right, you know, one of the best movies ever. And this movie, it's very, very different than the Bubble, right? It's basically the opposite of the Bubble. This is a slow movie, right? With romance and death and hatred and bullying and so on, right? So it's a very meaningful storyline told in only a movie time, right? Yeah. Bubble tells me nothing, basically, right? Bubble is just a visual, cool movie. It tells me nothing, which is like it is, right? But yeah, I don't know. Best movie isn't really many options, but still, Dragon Ball is Dragon Ball. Right? It's not a bad movie, but it's just like them fighting. Kaisen easily is the best movie. If I had to pick from these ones, because this movie didn't air last year, but if I had to pick one movie in this list, obviously Kaisen is a really good movie because it has a storyline, it has an amazing fight stride. It's amazing. It's a really good movie. So One Piece Film Red. I can show a quick review here. I mean, I've seen it twice. I talked about a review, you know, earlier last year, and of course. One Piece Film Red is a very weird movie because it's like a musical, right? Half the movie is Utayu singing, or the Uta, and she sings, right? And it's like, I think the issue is two issues with it. It's too many songs, right? That's a classic complaint. It's too much music in it, but it really is. A lot of complaints, even in Japan, because the Japanese audience tend to be a little more, less critical, right? Or less openly critical, rather. Yeah, less. But they were kind of openly critical about this movie because they were like, it's too much songs, right? So it was too much music. That's one thing easily. But I think the bigger issue was that not only was it too many songs, but it was some of the musical performances that I really enjoyed. The first two are really good, but then Utta has like a mental breakdown and actually starting singing, and it gets weirder. So, for example, the Tot Musica, I think it's called, which is the 8th or the 7th number, something like that I think was just pretty bad. So I think the issue was that not only was it too many songs, but it was more like the quality of the animation combined with the songs, because she's kind of fighting while she is singing, and it makes less and less sense. Especially that one which is controlling them and they're like sleeping or something, and it just makes so little sense melodic or stuff what's happening. It's just very, very confusing, I think, generally speaking, what's happening. So I think that's like a huge issue with that movie, where you have like, well, some of these performances doesn't make any sense. Her powers can do anything too, right? Her default is like, she can basically imagine anything. She can sing and then she can just create stuff, right? So she can create weapons or food, or it doesn't make any sense. So okay, she mind control people, I don't know. So it doesn't make any sense some parts of the movie. So it's a very uneven movie. You like some of it, and some other parts you're like, I'm questioning what's happening here. I haven't actually seen The Deer King. This is the only movie I haven't seen, I think. Yeah, I have a production IG. I haven't seen it actually. Okay, so best anime song. What? What's this thing? I have no idea what it means. Where the hell best opening, right? I don't know. I only don't know what it would be. Because we had opening, so would this be like insert song? Like song where you're fighting or something? Let's just press the button. I don't know. I don't know what it means. What do they mean here? Isn't this opening again? What? Maybe it's too loud. Sorry. Lower the volume. Sorry about that. I don't understand it. What is the category? But isn't this the opening? Well, what is this category? I hate Crunchyroll. This doesn't make any song. Okay, what's the difference? Best anime song, best opening. This is the same category, but they also have. What is the goddamn difference? It's just the rumbling again. So I guess the only difference is that this is best opening, best ending, whatever, right? And this is like both, I guess, because this category seems just really stupid, okay? Crunchyroll is so incompetent, Jesus Christ. They remove stuff like best girl, best boy, and so on, right? I think, and then they have best song and best opening. What is the difference, Crunchyroll? If it used is best opening again, okay, this end. Yes, the only difference here is they're combining opening and ending. My God, is this stupid? This is so stupid. This is what's called redundancy. Okay, the word you're looking for is redundancy. Redundancy. Yeah, that's the word you're looking for. Redundant. This is very redundant. But this is also like, yeah, the rumbling. So what is this category? Okay, a little bit like, yeah, see, now I get it. We should get one of the movie songs. And this is I think, the second best song of the movie for that matter. I think Back is better, but this is this is a stupid category. See, if this category was only songs like this thing with One Piece, it would make more sense. Then it would be like, okay, this is not openings, not endings. This is like, insert songs, right? This is songs that are happening outside opening and endings, so to speak, right? Then it would make more sense. But now they're like mixing up like openings and endings and one insert song. So it's just like this category is just the same category again, but we're combining them. That's like the only thing it does. Yeah, we take two categories and we merge them. It's basically, let's say you had best protagonist, you have best girl and best boy, right? And then you have this like best trans or something. best gender. Yeah, you just have all the characters. It would be the same thing, right? Yeah, it's like here you have 6 best boys and 6 best girls, and you put them all together. Now you have 12 characters. You can vote instead. Best characters, just like all of them together. Yeah, it's like, yeah, best male, best female, or just best character. Right? It's basically what it is. What a complete pointless category. Holy shit, it's so terrible. My god, I'm never get tired of laughing at how dumb it is. But yeah, you can see they removed, best protagonist, because those words are too complicated, Crunchyroll. They don't understand those words. They don't. Every year. But again, I give them credit though, because every year I have complained that they don't understand what a protagonist is, right? And I have written to them many times, even to some of the judges that I knew. Some of the judges previously, I knew them, so I was like writing to them on Twitter or so on, like DMs, like, why do we have this wrong thing here? So I feel like now they've heard. I have to give them credit. I have complained about this for like 3 years, so they finally listened to me and said, okay, whatever, we're removing the category and just call it best character instead. Yeah, best main character. They were like, okay, screw it. We just combine and call it best main character. But anyway, best director, I don't really care, honestly. I always feel that's a weird category, but yeah, they're probably gonna have the exact same anime. It's also gonna be the same anime. It's gonna be Trigger, it's gonna be the same anime. It's like the same anime over, and it's just a boring categories. The problem again is the judges only watch like 3 animes, right? So they don't know any other animes. It's so boring. Anyway, best main character, right? Denji is pretty good. Ichigo, yeah. Butchie is probably a pretty good main character. Okay, so Marin is probably gonna be there, right? Marin-chan. Marin's gonna be there. Okay. What more do we have? I could see Lyco's Recall. It's very Yuri. Yeah. I don't think Maiden Bitch should be there because freaking she turned into a psychopath Rico after a while. So that was just scaring me. One of the best main characters is actually Virgin Road, but of course they haven't seen that anime because that anime is, is ecchi and Yuri. Actually, it's different ecchi to Yuri, but it's a Yuri assassin show, right? Yeah. So, but actually the main character is very interesting in Virgin Road because she's actually evil. Yeah, she's actually spoiler, but she's basically really evil. She's yandere and so on. It's very interesting. She's following like a yandere crazy girl basically, right? In secret. She's hiding her yandere part. It's interesting. I think so. A lot at least. What more do we have? Summertime Render is not in it, right? Because they hate it. Butchie, I would think easily would be one of the best character last year. And the thing is that I don't think Butchie necessarily is the best anime last year, but the best main character is probably Butchie, yeah. If I had to say one best character, I would probably actually vote Butchie, right? Because, and I think this is why I like these kind of categories in the sense that, like, I think that Butchie, I had it in my top 10, right? I think Butchie is a very good anime. I love Butchie, it's a very good anime. Social Anxiety is very well written, it's beautiful anime, right? I think it's good, it's like a 9/10, it's a very good anime. Every episode is amazing, don't get me wrong. But I think that what really stands out, right, is the actual main core character, Butchie herself, right? So if I would say best main character, I would probably pick Butchie. But if I say best anime, then I might still say Butchie, right? So you get difference here, yeah. So I think that for a best main character, the character should really carry the anime, right? So I probably would maybe go with Marin then, right? Yeah, probably go with Marin. Because Marin, and Gold is a good character, but I think Marin, right, she's the whole show, right? She's really, shouldering the whole show. So I feel Marin is a good example of a main character which is extremely important for her whole show. With, for example, let's say something like, a good example. Well, actually, My Academia, okay. No, I like Deku, I like Deku. But if Deku died, you could still watch My Academia, right? So you still got like Todoroki, Endower, Mirko, Ida, Bakugo, of course. You have the other characters that could keep on going, right? For example, I won't spoil a game here, but one of my favorite games, especially one, a JRPG game, I won't spoil it, don't worry. In one of my absolute favorite games, Japanese role-playing games, right? PlayStation, you die, okay? The main character, he dies quite early. It's a very interesting storytelling where you play this main character as a kid, right? You grew up as the main character. He gets like exiled by his father, and he has to live in the slums, and you have to survive and so on. And you build your own country basically, and it's really good storytelling. Then you freaking die when you're like 30 with the character. Yeah, you die as the main character, like straight up. You can't survive. You get killed by some random monsters too. They just attack a city. You stay to defend the villagers, and you die from this case. You can't survive. Not a boss. It's like an endless stampede of like frogs or whatever. Yeah, it's like the most like lamest death ever too. You can't believe it. but he actually dies there. I wasn't in the game with it, but he dies. And then what happens then? You play as his best friend instead. And then the best friend dies too, and you play as his grandson. That game is crazy. If you had played the game, I won't gonna spoil it, but if you know what game it is, you probably know what I'm talking about. It's an amazing game because you're like, wait, did I just die as the main character? That's like unheard of, right? And then you keep playing as his best friend, and then he dies, and you play as his grandson because it's been like 40 years and so on. That game is just crazy, okay? But my point, of course, is that in that video game, right, it isn't carried at all by the main character. Because if the main character dies, you can play all the party member, right? So in the role-playing games, you play another character in the party, right? But Butchie is a good example of a character that obviously, without Butchie, there is no anime. She is the whole anime, right? So Butchie should win this thing. But obviously, they're dumb, so they won't have Butchie here. But Marin probably wins then, I think. Bodhi is true, yes. Sato said earlier too. That's a good example of a terrible main character, I think, in many aspects. Has been soon mine. What? There's no Marin. I was like, where's my Marin? Where's my Marin? He said. I was like, where's my Marin? That's the only character I care about. No, but I think Marin is the obvious winner because she really carries the show, right? It is true that without Eren, it also wouldn't be much Attack on Titan, though. But I think Marin is a good example, as I keep saying, right, of a character that really is the show, right? Yeah. Without her, you know, Gordio is there to be her boyfriend, right? Yeah, she is the star, the sun, everything, right? Without her, it's not an anime. But you could, for example, replace Lloyd to some extent. If Lloyd dies, Yor and Anya could go over the mission, you know what I mean? Like, that would be kind of weird, but it actually could happen, right? But you can't kill off Marin, it's actually the whole show. Eren, I guess you can really kill off either, so to speak. But Trigger's Cyberpunk, that I feel is a good example of where I don't think that the main character is actually that good. He's the weakest part of the anime. Obviously Lucy, the waifu, right? Was by Aoyuki. She's the star of the show, right? You know, the hot babe, of course, as always. No, but she's clearly the cool character. David, I feel mostly is annoying for that matter, but the thing is that David is just kind of generic. You know, like, oh, I'm a young guy wanting to get rich or something, and then my mom dies, and then I want revenge, and then I get more powers, and then I die, you know, kind of. He's just kind of typical revenge plot storyline. I was saying it, I think he's very generic, right? I think he's the weakest part of the anime. I think he's just very, very stereotypical, you know, basic shonen main character, right? Yeah. There's nothing special with him that really stands out, right? Like Susato is this crazy Genki Yuri girl. Those are getting more popular, so we see more of kind of Genki girls right these days. But that is a less common trope than, oh, my mom died, I want revenge guy, you know? Because there really isn't much for him as a character. He just wants to get money and revenge, and then he meets his waifu, and he wants to smash her, so they smash, and then, you know, they try to get revenge or whatever. Yeah, like, there's not much of, like, him as a character isn't really like doesn't really matter that much. You could easily replace him with any other character. You could have, instead of David, you could have, I don't know, you could have Leo instead of. Then Leo could lose his father, and it could be basically the same storyline. Okay? You could even alter his personality to a large extent, it wouldn't matter too much, right? Because his personality doesn't really feel like it impacts so much. Basically, he's kind of there for the ride, you know? He's kind of like, he's in all ways, David is supposed to be the gamer, right? When you play the video game. You kind of get into this world. It's like, go and steal a car, do something, shoot that guy, get into a fight. You know, it's kind of like he's kind of that kid just getting into the video game and testing all the mechanics, right? So he's not really there to, like, you know, have much of personality. But Mario, of course, earlier. Okay, so best supporting character, I guess Godio's gonna be there, right? Godio for Mario, right? Make a good sense and dynamic. I wonder how they look at Attack on Titan. Would they have a character like, for example, Gabby here? Because arguably Gabby is the best supporting character, right? Would they have Gabby here? She's already the main character. So would they have her here or Zeke? Let's see. I guess Chisato without her girlfriend wouldn't be much, right? If he's really weird, they would not gun them either, right? Because I would love to see Suletta and Murorina, right? This is so stupid that we don't have fall season. Yeah. A good supportive character would be Makima, you know? Like we have Denny as the main character, arguably, as the best main character. But Makima, I think a lot of people have as the best supportive character, right? And Power as well, especially Makima. So it feels really weird that we don't have Fall, because then we could have like Makima, we could have all the characters. Yeah, we could have, you know, yes, it doesn't make much sense. Isekai-san will never be in this list, right? No. Not what the Etcher show. I guess Kaguya-sama has I mean, Ashika, I guess, counts, right? Yeah, I mean, I guess Shika counts. I think I would like Shika, maybe. Shika probably counts, right? You know, it's a cray. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well, Hayasaka, I said. Nah, I will give it to Shika. Let's go! I will give it to Shika when Shika is like, let's go! With the rap video, yeah. I didn't bring a laugh. But Shika is like, boy, you love! Oh, I love this scene so much. And it's true that Hayasaka is the target of his love song, though, but oh my god, this scene when Shirogane, in Kaisho, right? Then him and Shika have been training his musical performance, right? And then Shika is like touching the ground and he's like, yo, let's go! And he starts singing against Hayasaka. That scene is so good. And she just starts crying, like, he can sing! that scene is so gold, but I mean, is it Hayasaka? I'm crying, that is so good. But is it Hayasaka that makes that scene work? Or is it Shika? Or is it Kaisho? You know what I mean? It's kind of like a combination. I would argue that it's more Shika that brings that show to life. And then President, right? He's the main character. Anya. With my best daughter category. I mean, I suppose Anya should win then, maybe. A little Anya. I feel I'm a little biased here. My little daughter. Kage is a very good supportive character, definitely. Rebecca. Really? See, this is what I mean. Pretentious Crunchyroll. They always have one pretentious anime. Yeah, they always need to have one pretentious show, right? Cyberpunk is the pretentious show, so it's gonna be. So Rebecca is a pretty meh character, right? So they're gonna have, you know, it's gonna. Come on, this is. Oh god, I hate them so much. I hate them so much. Seriously, there's so many better supportive characters than Rebecca. Cyberpunk. Not saying she's the worst character ever. I'm just saying that if you have the top 6 best supportive character of last year, there's God way in no hell I'm gonna pick Rebecca from Cyberpunk, okay? This is just because, again, the judges have only seen like 5 animes, so there's like, well, if of the 5 animes I have seen, I guess I pick Rebecca, right? That is the only reason why. Because this goddamn people haven't seen the 50-60 animes, right, that actually aired last year, or more than that, but at least like watchable animes, right? They haven't seen this like at least 60, whatever, right here. At least 50 animes plus are good, right? They haven't seen them. They see like 5 animes. So you're just like, I guess this woman here is pretty interesting. I mean, that's the level they are at, right? They're so incredibly shitty, right? They don't even watch anything. It's ridiculous. Or you get both Yor and Anya. It just feels so stupid. You have the best girl, and yeah, I mean, it feels weird having both Anya and Mama Yor in the same category, you know? It's really weird. They're very different kind of sportive characters, you know? She's this foxy MILF character, this is the daughter, the sweet, the wholesome daughter character. You know, it feels very different, it feels very strange. I think I actually probably would give it to like Kage though, of these picks though, yeah. I already have Shika, it's like, I pick like Kage probably. As the best bro Kage, I would probably. But the thing is that the best character though, this is why they're noobs too, right? The best character though, supportive character, is Mama Healing! Where's my Mama Healing, right? Where's my Mama Healing? I'm gonna fix this immediately. This is terrible, this man. Hate Crunchyroll. Such a terrible company. nobody's like, this is so silly, okay? I gotta find some healing. I have some healing in my computer, man. I got some healing, man. I got my collection of Mama Healing. Here we go. Here's Mama Healing. Bam, baby. There she is. Mama Healing, of course. That's the best supporting character. Kage, freaking trash character, man. But seriously, I mean, half the anime is Mama Healing. Let's be honest. It's not freaking Kage. It's Mama Healing, baby. Make it bigger. There we go. Oof. This is the best supporting character in Body by far. Mama Healing. I mean, this in here, right? Mama Healing goes muscular. Mama Healing. Come on, I got so much Mama Healing, man. I got a lot of images of Mama Healing. Here we go. Mama Healing, yeah. Mother Queen Healing, you know. I got a lot of images of Mama Healing, man. This is the best character. I got so much healing, man. I got so much healing, guys. I got like a million images of Queen Healing. Come on, this is the best character. I got a folder of his healing stuff. Here, more healing. Come on. This here is the best supporting character. This is the best supporting character. Kage is trash, man. Kage's got him trash. But seriously, yeah, absolutely. Kage is a good character, but like Mother Healing is the character. Because her storyline, you think about it from a storyline aspect too. Kage is mostly with Buddy, right? Him and Buddy are having their own adventure together, right? So that's the main storyline, the plot A storyline. In the plot B storyline is mother healing, right? And that's also why she's a bad supporting character. Because Kai is just part of plot A, right? But the plot B storyline, which is basically healing, fighting, her son / husband, this is super weird, and Miriam and blah blah and so on, and her teams of nice stuff. That is kind of plot B, right, in second core, right? So because she's the main character of her own plot, basically, her B plot, right? The A plot, the A and B, right? Yeah. That makes her a better supportive character, and also a more important character from a general narration, because she's carrying her own subplot. There is several episodes subplot, right? So it is really weird. It is not a good pick, I would say. Not really. But anyway, where was we? Anya, I guess? Wouldn't it be Anya again then? Now it's like must protect. I've called it. This is cringy, man. They don't know what to do anymore with life. Like cringe. It's obviously Anya. Like this is also questionable. Anya is the daughter of our protector. Yeah, like of course it's Anya. Budge and Kage. What a category. Marin. I guess okay. But see, I guess you want to protect Marin, but yeah, this other character is better than Marin. Come, Jesus Christ. What about Fupata? What about the character he made in Abyss, man? They're all poor. What about the character he made in Abyss? They're all down there in the hellhole dying, yeah. What about the poor mom eaten and so on in Made in Abyss, man? The cannibalism there, man. This is not. This he. Again, haven't you seen Made in Abyss, man? Made in Abyss is like, I have this anime, so mean to all the characters. I really don't think Komi is a good. Komi is a terrible choice here. I mean, Anya is the obvious winner. I mean, I don't even talk about this category. It's obviously Anya. Best action. Okay, interesting. So they have a tendency, right, to hate shonen shows because they're very pretentious, right? They're very pretentious. So they have they hate shonen shows like Black Clover and One Piece and My Academia and so on, right? So if we were living in reality, which they aren't, but I am, right? The obvious picks here is like Chainsaw Man, Bleach, One Piece, My Hero Academia, and Demon Slayer and so on, right? Those are the obvious choices, right? Now, of course, these guys are living in some La La Land, right? Where they would they won't pick Bleach, Chainsaw Man and so on, yeah, they won't pick those animals. And and My Academia, did it air one thing? They're not gonna have My Academia either. They might have One Piece, right? They had like Luffy vs Kaido and so on a little bit, right? So I guess they have that. And like Boruto. But I think they're gonna pick like Demon Slayer, right? Yeah, they got like Demon Slayer. I guess they're gonna argue that Attack on Titan's action. I think that is action slash drama. That it's fair. I mean, it's gonna be like Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, One Piece, right? Spike's Family, probably. Yeah, Attack on Titan. Yeah. Cyberpunk. I guess it's an action show, but not really. But I guess Demon Slayer, obviously, right. I enjoy just about that. That's true. Because Rico does have good action. Spike's Family. Yeah, so like I said, they're not gonna have One Piece or someone, right? Yeah, they never have shonen shows. They hate, My Academia, Shonen, Bleach. They hate shonen shows. They're never gonna have a shonen show like that. No, never. And it's bizarre, right? It really is bizarre that One Piece can produce like 50 episodes, and at least some of them being good. No, but One Piece had episode 1000, right? Yeah, One Piece produces like 50 episodes, where at least like 10 of them are really good animated, right? Because it's like 1 in 5, and some of them are really good fights. Like Luffy vs Kaido were fantastic, right? And I'm not saying that every part of One Piece was good, but the Roof Piece, we had goddamn Roof Piece, right? We had freaking, I'm not spoiling whatever. We have Zoro, Killer, Kid, of course, Luffy, and Law teaming up right against Big Mom and Kaido. And at least some of that was amazing, right? And then it also was low quality at some point, because the balance is that. But some of that was amazing in One Piece. Are you telling me the Cyberpunk had better action than One Piece? That's just bullshit. I mean, yes, it was better per episode, I guess, right? But Cyberpunk is like a 10 episode anime, right? A higher body, 10 episode anime. And some didn't have much action. Come on, it's just ridiculous. Like, One Piece has been like a Wano fight. Nico Robin against Black Maria, Jinbei against who. I mean, One Piece has been like a 50 episode action, right? It's been like a fighting sequence at Wano, because Wano is like the longest arc ever, right? So it's like 50 episodes of this constant action at Wano, and I'm not saying it's the best thing ever. I'm just saying that some of the episodes have been really, really good, right? And some has been terrible, let me be wrong. Some of them are really badly done, but most of them have been really good. Yamato and Kai's right? Yeah, really good. Sunny's part been really good. So it's absurd to me. They're like, oh, shonen shows. We can't nominate a shonen show. Those plebs, they can't vote for shonen. It's gonna win, you know. Yeah, there's also one reason why they never want to have, you know, Black Clover, One Piece, Macadamia, and so on. Because of course they're like, no, the plebs, they're gonna vote for it, right? They used to have Macadamia when it was new. Yeah, they used to have Macadamia, I think, when this thing started, the anime war. Before the YouTubers, so I think so. When it was like season 1 and 2 or so, but not anymore. Not after season 2, I think. But Demon Slayer, I would say win then from a pure like action standpoint, definitely. Okay, the best comedy. This is interesting because I would probably say Spike's Family is funny. Nagatoro is airing now. I'm like, Nagatoro is always best comedy. Usaki and Komis Isekai Oji-san, is that the best comedy? Probably. Yeah, I think I would probably put Isekai Oji-san right as the best comedy. What more do we have? We got Isekai Oji-san. What else do we have? Komi-san. I'm thinking like they're pure comedy now. Right? They're mostly used like pure comedy. Not like, for example, Spike's Family. That's like comedy, action. Yeah, some of that. Shows that are just comedy. That aren't really action. Bocchi, obviously, but maybe weird. Sorry, it's class. I have my nose. I mean, My Desert Darling, I guess it's comedy. It's rom-com, right? They have romance later, though. Yeah, but I would say My Desert Darling is a romance show more so than a comedy, right? Oh, it's the kind of Jesus in the list. Oh my god, they're never gonna have it. But that just made, that makes the list so dumb, though. It makes the list almost dumber because Isekai Disan is in the list, right? But that means that why wasn't Isekai Disan, for example, in Best New Series? Because Best New Series is crap. Like, come on, you're telling me the best is the best at Call of Night? And this is also a comedy rom-com right there. Or you're telling me that Isekai Disan isn't better than this show? Come on, Jesus Christ, this is bullshit. So that makes it weird. I thought they were ignoring completely Isekai Disan. I'm actually surprised now they would have, you know, Isekai Disan in the list, right? But yeah, Kaguya-sama, My Desert Darling, but it's more romance, but sure, it's like a rom-com, so, you know, as a Spike's Family. It's kind of what you expect, right? Except that could be, but it's not a very good anime. But, yeah, Isekai Disan, I think, should win them. Purely comedy-wise, yeah, sure. I was surprised they're even gonna be there. I just want to see best romance first then. So this probably is gonna be the same to some extent, right? Yeah, because Kaguya-sama has nothing to do. This is almost gonna be the same category then. I think you also should only be allowed to have them in one category if it's like genre categories. So it's gonna be Marin again, right? You know, it's gonna be Marin. It's gonna be Kaguya-sama again, right? Yeah, Call of Night. Yeah, Kaguya-sama, Komi-san, and romance. It's more comedy than romance, but sure. That wasn't a very good show. My Desert Darling, Shikamura, yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of what I mean, right? They're gonna have mostly the same show then. And it is true that, of course, My Desert Darling is a rom-com. It's undeniably is it a romantic comedy. Kaguya-sama is more comedy though, right? Definitely. My Desert Darling is also wholesome and sweet more, right? Yeah, so I just think that, I mean, of course, some animes are like blended into different genres, right? But I think that an issue they do here, right? And I really mean this, and it's a list thing most of that from Crunchyroll. Is that if I made this list, I would never allow two animes to be in the same, you know, to be in different categories, just because they're a hybrid show, right? I would say you have to pick what is mostly, because that's better. Because then you get like shows that are pure romance, right, or more so romance in one category, and the other one is more comedy, right? So you actually get the more different animes. Because one reason, right, that this list every year is so terrible is because they're so lazy and they just have like the same anime, you know what I mean, in like almost every category, right? They have like the same anime in almost every category over and over again. It's so boring. Even though I have a freaking Marin-chan figure, I have a huge Marin poster. Okay, let's go and get the Marin poster, right? I have a goddamn big ass Marin poster, guys. Alright? I showed it on the video, right? I got a big ass Marin poster. I haven't put it up yet. So it's here, right? We're gonna put it up later. Oh. Right, so let's put that. So you know how much I love Marin-chan. It's my favorite show last year. It's like the best show last year. So I'm not saying that I don't love Marin-chan, you know. I got my freaking Marin-chan poster right there. So obviously, Mari-chan is an amazing show, right? But I still think it would be better if she was only allowed to be in one category, right? It'd be a much better show, or at least I mean. And to be fair, I'm not saying that she can only be in like best romance. I'm saying she can be in like best romance, right? Best character, you know, best opening, so on. Those things can overlap, right? But having Mari in both like best character, best supporting character, best romance, best comedy, best thing, best. I mean, I love the show, but it gets into a level of like, I guess I have to vote for it in every category. I mean, it's just kind of, yeah, I think it ruins the flow of these kind of categories. But it's the same thing every year. But it would be a lot better if they actually had, you know, like a better system where they can't put them in the same. So we have different shows here, right? But that also means they have to work more. They will need these guys have to actually do a little bit of work, right? So they want to do that. But anyway, best drama. I'm just gonna skip guessing here because I feel best drama is so undefined. Because I think everything could be a drama almost. I haven't seen more than like one anime, you know what I mean? It's always like, oh, whatever, I picked the same anime again. Yeah, it's so lazy, so goddamn lazy, right? But yeah, so you get the same thing over and over again. That Sword is a pretty good show. More a sport anime though, but still. Yeah. And then it goes Made in Abyss, right? So it's the same thing. Best fantasy, okay, interesting. Made in Abyss, I guess. It's gonna be the two runner up because it can be in more than one category. Tomorrow got Fire Emblem, awesome. Let's see. Made in Abyss. Mushoku Tensei should kinda count given the new rules, but it won't, right? So it's really weird. It's the 2021 thing. It being a fall anime last year. 2 years ago, I mean. Made in Abyss is the obvious fantasy anime. What other anime is like fantasy? Does like Demon Slayer count as fantasy? What is fantasy? It's always like, what does fantasy mean, right? What does fantasy mean? Made in Abyss is probably Demon Slayer counts, okay. Made in Abyss is the obvious fantasy show. Mushoku Tensei counts here? See, this is why this list is so terrible! This is so terrible, oh my god. Oh my effing god. As always, they complete fail, man. Oh my god. Crunchyroll logically never makes any sense, right? This doesn't make any goddamn sense. So if Mushoku Tensei, this is why this is so terrible, and the stupid rules are so goddamn stupid defaulting, right? If Mushoku Tensei counts, even though it shouldn't, because it added 2 years ago, right? If that counts, that means that Rudy, etc. could have been in best character, yeah. This ruins the whole list, Jesus Christ. Mushoku Tensei is a lot better than most show on the list. Mushoku Tensei is so much better. Let's go up and look at example. Let's say, you know, best new series, right? Yeah, this show, Call of Night, compared to Mushoku Tensei, is crap, right? Cyberpunk is pretty crap with Mushoku Tensei. Lycos Recall, again, a good show, not as good as Mushoku Tensei, right? Madness of Darling, also probably Mushoku Tensei, yeah. Like, Yai Boy Kong Ming, better Mushoku Tensei? What are you freaking kidding? Yeah, like, no, it isn't, right? It doesn't make any sense. You can't add in Mushoku Tensei now and claim that it's, oh, but it's like best fantasy. It's just the same thing again. They hate Tensei. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. Because if it's allowed to be in the list, then it's... If Mushoku Tensei is allowed to be in this list, even though it doesn't make any sense because it didn't add last year, then it should be in so many more categories, right? Best female character, best this thing, and so on. It's so stupid. And then we get ranking studies. Is that even fantasy? And best romance, of course, is Mari-chan. It's not even a question about it. Yeah, Mari-chan. Yeah, what is it? Whatever. Okay, we're at the end soon, guys. Yeah, okay. Best voice actor. Let's have English first then. I don't care. Best English, I just don't care, okay? I haven't listened to a single one. Yeah, the famous YouTuber. I guess we can pick him. I don't know who he does even. I have no idea. I genuinely don't care whatsoever. Okay. Best voice actor Japanese. Much more interesting. Okay, guys. Who is the best voice actor Japanese last year? Sora maybe? Our Yuki perhaps, right? Typical Yuki. I guess Suda-san did something as always. He did like 10 animes every season. Our Yuki and Kenjiro Suda, they do like 10 anime each per year, right? Yeah, like every anime, our Yuki is somewhere. Our Yuki is Lucy. They have it here in every category. So they're obviously gonna nominate Lucy because they're obsessed with I guess Anya. Oh yeah, Father's Eye. She's power. That's what she's there. We get some power. They're not taking Lucy? I thought they were taking Lucy because they're so obsessed with Cyberpunk. I don't think Aaron talked that much that season. Nah, pretty bad. No, they're not. I mean, I do like Eye for Us. She's my best girl. She's my IRL best girl. So I do like Eye for Us. She does, of course, Jolene, yeah, but she does like Power and so on. So that's my IRL best girl. Come on, so that's fair. I easily pick her, of course. Okay, let's go up, guys. Best anime of the year. Okay, we skipped it earlier. Okay, take out the break here. Let's think about it. Best anime of the year. Okay, so now then, we've seen all the animes, right? And Mushoku Tensei was allowed in one category, fantasy again, for no logical reason, right? Not knowing that Mushoku Tensei is part of the categories, it's obviously best anime of the year. Mushoku Tensei should be here, right? It doesn't make any sense. They're not gonna have like, Chainsaw Man or Butchie or Bleach right now. Not gonna have that. But it's also kind of weird. One thing that also makes it so stupid is that one of the best anime last year, right, is Spy X Family, with, of course, beloved Anya, right? But how are the judges judging this? Are the judges... I hate this fall thing is so stupid. How are the judges doing it then? Are they only watching, the first 12 episodes, right? That's just bullshit. Like, did someone sit down and be like, okay, we're gonna judge best anime... That's what we're gonna judge best anime, but we can only judge the first 12 episodes of Spy X Family. We can't judge the part when Bond appears, for example. That is too late. That's in the fall, you know what I mean? That's so crazy. I mean, certainly, many of these judges here, right? The one that actually looks at anime, right? The judges that actually watch anime, certainly many of them have just watched Spy X Family, right? Before they even got invited to do this shit, right? So they have to like put the blinders on and be like, okay, but you can't think about the last 12 episodes, like half the season, you know what I mean? So all the animes, or most of Spy X Family, I think it's obviously gonna be here, I mean, they have to actually ignore half the episodes, but they can't do that. It just logically doesn't make any sense. They would have to go like, oh, I only pretend I saw the first half or something. Yeah, it's just so stupid. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It's so tragically moronic, right? Mushoku Tensei is obviously be in it. It's gonna be like the same list every time. So it's gonna be like Cyberpunk, pretentious bullshit. It's gonna be Cyberpunk, which it sounds like I hate. I don't. I like the anime. But the reason I say that is because I called it before, right, in my thumbnail and so on. I said in the beginning of the video that Cyberpunk is obviously gonna be in every category, right? That is what I said, and that's been true, right? Yeah. It's gonna be Cyberpunk. It's gonna be Spy X Family, of course. It's gonna be probably still then, Attack on Titan. Even though it's the worst season, in my opinion, Attack on Titan. And I'm not saying the whole anime is just terrible, right? But I think easily that part of the build-up for the rumbling is the weakest season. Because it's slow-paced, it's mostly Gabby being Gabby, and you know what I mean, we're into it. But you know what I mean, let's not rant about Attack on Titan, but I think it's like, well, that season isn't very strong, right? The rumbling, I said earlier, the rumbling stuff is a very good opening. The rumbling is a fantastic opening, for example. But the actual, like, the whole season, it's not that good. Mothers of Darling might be here, right? What more do we have? Maiden Abyss, perhaps. Boudier will obviously be here, yeah. Osama is obviously gonna be here. Maybe something I forgot, but it's probably, maybe Demon Slayer. That's probably okay. The end of the year. Take on Titan. Because you're lazy. Because you don't watch an anime. I mean, generally speaking, these people don't watch anime. Attack on Titan is not the best anime left. Jesus Christ, man. And also it's kind of unfair then, because another thing that doesn't make any sense is that if you can't look at fall animes, you shouldn't be allowed to also include animes that are sequels then, you know what I mean? It's just so stupid, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, the anime, okay. Cyberpunk, obvious. It's to be the every category, so obvious. Demon Slayer, again, Yuri, I said earlier, obviously, the romance Yuri, so they're gonna be popular anime, Ranking of Kings, Spy X Family. So it's like the same in every category. It's just a boring list. I mean, the biggest issue probably with the whole list, if we ignore that they don't have any fall system, which is so stupid, right? There is no fall. It is very, very stupid. That there is no fall. I keep saying it, but it's so incredibly stupid that they ignored fall season, right? It doesn't make any sense. is objectively a terrible list. No matter how you frame it, it is a terrible list because you're talking about the best anime last year and you're ignoring 25% of last year and also ignoring, arguably, right, and more people agree with me, the best season last year, the fall season. Having an anime of the year thing without any Chainsaw Man or whatever butchers or what doesn't make any sense. It's just stupid. But like I said earlier too, and I really want to emphasize on this point, right? This thing is so stupid because if you think about it, right, how have they done this thing, right? So again, the rule of saying that we can't, decide animes that have been airing in the fall, right? Okay, but again, Spike's Family aired the fall, but also aired earlier. They have obviously seen both of that. The judges have clearly seen 24 episodes or 25 or whatever of Spike's Family, right? They've clearly seen it before and during the fall. So they are judging this anime on 24 episodes, right, for example. So the anime has an advantage then, right, of being partially in this like twilight sort of the fall, but also not being in the fall. You know what I mean? It appears both in the fall and it appears in the early in the fall, right? This that alone doesn't make any sense, right? So every anime that goes into the fall then has an advantage of more episodes, right? And other animes can't have because they only air in the fall. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And then because Mushoku Tensei is suddenly allowed again, but they hate it, right? So why isn't that in the best anime? Because we all know Mushoku Tensei is one of the best animes ever. He says, Christ, come on, why isn't that in this list, right? So there's a lot of dumb stuff here. But yeah, it logically doesn't make any sense. But if we ignore the logic of it and pretend that we have to pick here, I mean, obviously not the Titan, it's not the weakest season of the show. Pretentious over the show easily. Demon Slayer has a good fights. I mean, I don't even think this is like a Spike's Family my style. This is not even like my. It's like 2 of my animes for top 10. Yeah, these 2 animes are in my top 10. So it's pretty easy for me to pick under these 2 then. But neither of these ones are my winner last year. No, this is my number 2 then. But so Spike's Family. But I am thinking about it, in the fall. Yeah, but I'm looking at Spike's Family as I'm including the fall, right? Which I'm claiming that every judge is doing as well, right? So it's just so stupid. Yeah, like how can you judge this thing if Spike's Family also aired in the fall? Like it's just so stupid. Like I can't even comprehend why they are this stupid at Crunchyroll. Like I can't even fathom how they are thinking here, because how would you even like, just compare it, right? Yeah, it's like, what does that mean? It's just so dumb. I can't believe they. I mean, I already had like 0 hopes, right, for Anime of the Year. Obviously, it's a 0 out of 10 awards, and I never had any, like faith in them, right, from the beginning, and I haven't had it for 6 years, right. Why would I have it now? I think it's 6 years old now. Yeah, I have never ever had any respect for them since the beginning, right, because they've always been so terrible and so again and driven and so on. But this whole thing of skipping over, Chainsaw Man and so on, right? It's just so stupid. Yeah, it's just pure stupidity. And then of course adding in that you still have shows like going in both and so on. It's just so weird. But anyway, the list was pretty terrible as you expect, right? There was not the best openings in that list. I guess they did. Yeah, they didn't have the best Spike's Family opening, but clearly the judge has seen the whole show, so it doesn't make any sense, right? So that's an issue. What more do we have? This was a terrible list as always. I mean, the general issue, right? If we ignore that the fall isn't there, and we ignore that they removed categories like best boy, best girl, and they removed some better categories, and they added a category of best song. What was the point of that? It was just best opening plus best ending. That was terrible. That was just like, we have one category here, X category, we got Y category, and then we got XY category. Yeah, that category was redundant completely. We have it down here. That was probably the dumbest new thing here. Best anime song. Oh, it's the openings again and ending. Oh yeah, it's like, the rumbling. It's like, okay, yeah, the rumbling. Best opening. Oh yeah, the rumbling and so on. Yeah, what was the point of that category? Like completely pointless. I mean, yes, of course, technically they are different, right? Again, X and Y plus, yeah, it's like a combination of those two, right? But it still is like, if you already have this category and this category, you don't need to have another category to combine them in. So that was very pointless. That was very, very pointless. Extremely pointless category. But generally speaking though, right? a major issue here is, of course, the major, how I say it, right, as I keep saying, that they just keep having the same 5-6 animes in almost every category. It's Attack on Titan, it's Demon Slayer, it's Cyberpunk, and Madness of Darling to some extent, right? Lyxstick to some extent, Made in Abyss a little less so, right? But they have these like 4 or 5 animes they really love, right? And then they just push them into every category. Like this best continuous show, Attack on Titan, you know, blah blah blah, Kaguya-sama, Made in Abyss, right? You know, it's like these shows, right? The top 2 shows. Then you go to Anime of the Year, and it's the same thing again. Attack on Titan, you know, Demon Slayer. It is almost the exact same category, the exact same thing in every category, right? If you go to, let's say, best score, right? It's like, you know, Attack on Titan. And, you know, it's like the same show, almost, Demon Slayer, right? And this is how it is every year. So I was surprised, because the general thing, right, is the two things. They are always not gonna, except one anime, basically, Cyberpunk this year, they're never gonna give credits, right, to animes outside of Crunchyroll, right? So there's no summertime render, right? Summertime rendering is called. Summertime rendering is a very good anime. It is in the top anime last year. It's in my top 10, right? Very high up there. I love summertime render. They don't even have summertime render here at all, right? It's zero category summertime render. That's a terrible thing. And it add before, you know, it add before the fall, right? That's stupid, right? And then they're all gonna have any fall animes, which is completely insane stupid, right? So this was very stupid. And then shows like, for example, Isekai or G-san, right? They have it actually in best comedy, but because it's etchy, you know, he's like a, you know, oh, he's hentai, whatever, they're gonna try to ignore it, you know what I mean? Mushotenshi, they have it in fantasy, but they don't have it in anything else, like the animation or the storytelling there. How is someone else, right? Yeah. They always do it, right? So it's agenda driven by their, you know, politics, right? Combined with how can we not talk about animes that we don't own, right? You know, so it gets very, very biased, right? It's very, very biased, and then you get this really weird thing where that's kind of the premise, right? And then you get this really weird thing that, yeah, you get like 40 judges where maybe like 5 of them actually watch anime, and I really mean that, you know, 5 of them watch anime, and the other guys, just like the Oscars or whatever, as I mentioned earlier, just like the Oscars or whatever, right? They only watch like, here are the 10 top animes that we want you to promote, right? Yeah. These guys, they don't go and watch, you know, these obscure animes, right? Like, for example, today I watched Odisha Genderbender, right? Which I think is a great show, right? It's very etchy, so, but it's Genderbender, right? Do you think these judges go and watch Odisha Genderbender? No, they don't, right? Because they only watch the popular show. Think they watch, like, you know, Inukai is My Life with Poshita? No, of course they don't. They don't watch that show, right? But it's etchy again, right? They watch show. Do you think they watch, let's see what I added yesterday, let's say all the show we have this season. For example, how likely is it that these judges watch Gundam, right? For example, right? With Murine and Slita. So that's, yeah, very good show, right? Very, very good show last year. At the ending with Tomato. Very, very, one of the best scenes that last this year. What is the likelihood that they have seen this season of Gundam? Probably almost zero, right? For most of these people, right? Doing this international. Probably almost zero. What more do we have of the shows that they probably haven't seen at all? Iskadisa, I mentioned earlier. What shows do we have? Peter the Grill, for example, in specific viewers. You know, all those shows, yeah, they're never gonna watch those. I mentioned, you know, Virgin Road, they're never gonna watch that, right, at all. I think a lot of sport animes get bad rap too, right? So I have a very hard time seeing them watching sport animes, generally speaking. The dance anime, the ballet anime is a little more pretentious, right? They're like, oh, it's ballet, let's nominate that, you know, you know what I mean? Like, come on, I know how they think, you know. They sit there and be like, we should probably have like one sport anime. The only sport anime mentioned here at all is the ballet anime, which I think is a good anime for Mappa, but I just pointing out that doesn't it feel kind of like pretentious? They're like, the ballet show, because they don't have any other sport anime at all, right? At all. You know, there's no Blue Lock, right? Or no other sport, no soccer anime, so there's nothing else. No Yuvashi Pedal or whatever, right? Yeah, they completely ignore the whole genre of sport anime, even though it's a very popular genre, right? Yeah, and they're like, well, take the ballet show, right? Just grab that ballet show and let's be finished with it. Yeah, because they don't have any other sport anime. It's the only sport category. It's the only sport nomination in total. Yeah, I think it was best drama, right? Best drama, they have Dance Disorder. Yeah. So this is the only time they have a sport anime in total. That also speaks volumes, right? No, to be fair, I'm not saying that last year was the best sport year ever with all the best sports shows going at the same time. I'm not saying that, but still though, right? There were a couple of good sports shows. That's weird, and as I mentioned earlier, right? Yes, they have One Piece in like best song or something, right, from Utta, but otherwise it's like best fights, no, so on. Mike and Eve also got ignored and so on. Yeah, it's just so terrible. Well, I mean, it is what you expect, right? It is what you expect from Crunchyroll. Yeah, it is what you expect, definitely. It is straight up kind of what you imagine, right? Not overly surprised. I guess I think Marin is just so popular that they have her area. My Marin poster, right? Yeah. My Marin-chan's gonna win everything. I think that Marin-chan is just so popular that she gets to be in everything. But I am a little surprised actually how often Marin was in the list. But I guess she's just so incredibly popular that they had to pick it in. Because I'm guessing that they hate Marin, right? She's very etchy, right? So they probably don't want to have her in the list, right? But she's so wholesome anyway. Because basically every other etchy anime is ignored, right? I think Marin Stop Darling is the only etchy anime in the whole list here. I don't think they had any other etchy anime, no horror anime, right? Nothing at all. They had one, of course, fantasy Mushoku boss, right? One category again for MT, but otherwise, I don't think they had any like etchy or that kind of show at all. I'm looking at it quickly again here. Best romance, Shikimura doesn't have etchy. I guess the Love Domination has some scene. Call of now. Okay, yes, they have the vampire show. That is kind of etchy too. Yeah, she's quite a thirsty milk fried. It's like, oh yeah, I like to snuggle and so on. Yeah, so I suppose they had a little bit of that as well. But you can always see the agenda, right? You can always see the agenda with Crunchyroll that they're always trying to ignore stuff like Isekai and so on. Yeah, because it's all the sex jokes or whatever. They don't want to have that shows, right? They're always very very prude, right? And I guess a side note. Now when Sony has bought Crunchyroll, it's gonna get worse, right? I thought about it last year, but I made a video about that when they bought them, right? But yeah, it's just like Sony is notoriously censoring PlayStation games, right? So for example, if you buy a game for Switch, the same game right, they have on PlayStation 5 and 4 and so on, they're usually less censored, right? And PC and so on, but it's Switch. For example, these like dating games or whatever, right? In Japan, they're released usually for Switch then or like PS and so on, yeah, PlayStation usually. They're just better to buy them for Nintendo because Nintendo doesn't censor stuff. Yeah, they just allow you to do whatever you want, right? So it's very notorious that PlayStation have become very into censoring, the oppies and so on, right? Devil May Cry 5, I think it was the first example where I remember I saw them censoring. In Devil May Cry 5, they censor like Trish and also another character, but especially Trish. So when you save Trish, Dante carries her, right? And her oppies are out, right? And they kind of censor that with like weird purple lightning on PlayStation version, but on Xbox and so on, it's just completely shown. Of course, it still is she's still not actually shown, but the point is, it's no purple light thing going on, right? So I cannot see this getting better, right? That Crunchyroll already is like censoring and rewriting stuff like Bufuri and Kaguya-sama and so on, right? They had this really weird translation on Kaguya-sama, for example, Rising 2 and so on. I really can't see this changing. I think it's gonna get worse, right? I'm straight up here, right, in the end here. But it's important to say, right? Because some of these categories and some of these animes that are very clearly missing that I think are much better, right, than some of these shows here. Or maybe not better than all the shows, but better than some of the lower picks, so to speak, right? Better in top 6 or one. Or missing, probably in a mixture of this show isn't, proper enough, right? It's not, it's like an evil show, right? Ignore that show. And that's like half the reason, and the other half the reason, right, is again then that they're like, oh, this show is on Disney Plus, right? Bleach. Summertime Renders and one. Okay, push that show away. Right? That is the other half too, You kept thinking about that. Why are they talking about, for example, Summertime Render is the best ever, right? Yeah. Summertime Render, great show, obviously aired all the episodes before, the whole fall thing and so on, right? And why isn't Summertime Render at all in the list? Well, obviously because it's not owned by Crunchyroll. Right? If they were the one streaming it, it would have been in several places, right? But because they don't own it, it's like, no, we can't talk about that. That's not an actual show. I haven't heard about that Summertime Render. You mean that you go to the beach something? No, they're like Summertime Rendering Sega. Oh, you mean the video game? It's like, no, yeah. I mean, they obviously do this on purpose, right? It's been the same every year. It's very important thing about. I mean, I obviously said it several times, but it's like it's very obvious to me now after going through the whole list, right? We've gone through the whole list. We looked at all the animes, right? And the result is always, for example, where is Bastard, right? Netflix show. The only Netflix show basically shown is Cyberpunk, right? Not saying that these other Netflix shows are so amazing, but I'm point that it's not really focused here. Isekadi-san could have been there, right? It doesn't make much sense. Isekadi-san is in best comedy. Isekadi-san is in best comedy, but it's not in best new show, for example, right? So if you go to best comedy, that's the only time they mention Isekadi-san. Yeah, Uncle from Another World, right? It's mentioned here, and like Yai by Kong Ming, for example, right? In best comedy. Then we go to best new show, best new series, and they're only gonna have Yai by Kong Ming, right? And I think you have to be kind of cray-cray, arguably kind of cray-cray, to think that Yai by Kong Ming is better than Isekadi-san. That's complete bullshit. It is a much worse show, right, than Isekadi-san. It's not even comparable. So the reason, this is true, the reason really why Yai by Kong Ming is here and not Isekadi-san is because they don't own it. Yeah, it's because Crunchyroll doesn't own the show, right? If they own both those shows, I would be pretty sure they would have Isekadi-san here instead of Yai by Kong Ming. But now they're like, no, we don't own it, so we can't have it here. So they have to hide it away, right? So that's the selection process they do is clearly very biased. It's the same thing every year, right? The Annie Awards is the same thing too, right? The Annie Awards is like, who owns it? Disney. So they used to take Disney and Riot Games. Yeah. Annie Award last year, it was owned by like this. It was sponsored by Disney and Riot Games, and they were like, oh, Arcane every category. I wonder why. Again, not saying Arcane is a bad show. I'm just saying that if Arcane's owner, Riot Games, also owns the award. Yes. So anyway, Annie Awards is an animation award, right? Yeah. Yeah, straight up. Last year, Annie Awards were basically 50% owned by Disney, 50% owned by Riot Games, more or less, right? I mean, it's numbers, but basically, right? And then every Disney movie and Arcane, then of course, were in every category in Annie Awards. And you're like, I wonder why. I wonder why they're in every category. Could it be because the producer of the shows also owns the shows? I mean, it's an easy way, right, to give yourself an award. I should do that too. I should be like top 10, YouTubers, right? The Myrmonden Awards. Be like number 1, me. But I mean, it's kind of like that meme where, what is it, like Barack Obama giving himself a medal, right? I mean, it's that meme of him giving himself the, what is it, like the honorary medal of something? Yeah, like that meme. It's kind of like that. What is it, like Barack Obama giving himself a medal, like Barack Obama giving this meme, right? This like that's how I feel Crunchyroll is. Because of course he gives the medal to like Biden and so on, but it's a meme where he gives it to himself. Yeah, Obama watch Obama. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, this is kind of what I feel. When I this is genuinely what I feel when I watch, when I look at the Crunchyroll awards. You know what I mean? Like this is straight what I feel, right? I'm gonna get the meme here. This is basically what I feel, right? Like I'm just like, yeah, sure, Crunchyroll. Yeah, Crunchyroll, you're so good. But this is kind of how I feel this. If you haven't seen it before, this is what I feel when I look at this. When I look at this, list, right? Yeah. When I look at this list, this is kind of what I feel. But they're like, why is this show here? Like, this show isn't that good. I don't hate this show. I'm just saying that, come on, it's not that good. But this is the reason why, right? Because they're like, what if I give myself that award? Right? That's the reason why. I really, this the only reason why, right? Because you have to think about it. I know I'm broken record, but it's really important to think about how they're so obviously always like, okay, these shows are both pretty good. They kind of the same level of quality. You know what I mean? And they're like, which one do we own? Well, we produced X show, and Y show we didn't produce. So let's not, that's how it is every year, right? And people never get this, I feel, but it is like, I'm just being generally cynical, right? Like I said with the Annie Award, same thing there, right? If Riot Games that made Arcane, if they own the awards, of course they're gonna be like, well, maybe Arcane, best voice actor, maybe Arcane, best Japanese, like Arcane 2, you know, best fight, maybe Arcane, you know, best, Arcane, you know what I mean? That's how they're gonna act, right? Because they own the awards, right? Yeah, they own it, they're gonna do that. It's completely unethical, but that's what happens, right? Yeah, next year, guys, I'm gonna make my own awards, yeah. The anime awards, the YouTuber awards, yeah. YouTuber, no, I'm gonna go further. I'm gonna go best human award, yeah. I'm gonna go, who's the best human? I'm gonna call it the human awards. I'm gonna make myself the best human. That's what I'm gonna do, yeah. Next year, I'm gonna make myself, and it's be like, best human award. I'm the best human alive, yeah. And then I'm like, second best human, also me, yeah. I'm gonna be like, and then in the future, dead me, also best human, yeah. Dead human, that's also me. But seriously, like, it's just so silly how it is so clear, so incredibly obvious that every time they had to pick, you know, either X or Y anime, every time, right, when it was between a Crunchyroll anime and like a Netflix or a Disney anime, whatever, right? They used to they ignored that anime every time they could. They were like, screw that anime, yeah, that is not good, yeah. Every time they could pretend that the other anime wasn't as good as their shows, right? It is kind of beautiful, I think, in like a sickening way. No, but I think it's kind of funny, right? But I want to put out though, just here ranting a bit, but I think it's fair to put out though, right? From a human standpoint, so yeah, a cynical standpoint, that I think it's good that people realize that is how the world is, right? You know, the world is a lot of more cynical than people believe, but really, it's how it works, right? The easiest way, right, to win an award is by owning the award, right? For example, the Oscars, right, are famously never giving anime awards, right, which is very silly. Most because the Oscar people don't even watch anime, right? So they have like, oh, Boss Baby 2, you know what I mean? And it's very, very embarrassing every year for them, right? But the reason, for example, that the Ghibli movies has won many Oscars isn't because they're amazing. It really isn't, right? I'm not saying they're bad, but the actual reason why is because Disney did it. Okay, so Disney is the publisher of most Ghibli movies. It's not all, but especially the old ones. I know it for a fact. All the first like 5, 6, you know, Ghibli movies, right, were all released by Disney in America, right? So every year, Ghibli movie was released like 91, by Disney, right? They then pay the Oscars to make them win the Oscars. That is how it works, you know, because Disney owns the Oscars. So yeah, that is actually how it works. I'm not putting like shade over Ghibli movies. I'm just saying that the reason, right, that the Ghibli movies actually can win Oscars is not because they're so amazing that the Oscar people care about their movies and they don't care about like Your Name or whatever. No, it's not because those movies aren't good enough. No. It's because, again, that Disney is partially owners, right? And, or at least like partially or at least like most, you know, publisher, production, and so on, owners, sort of Japan, right, of those movies. So Disney has a very, you know, incentive, right, to promote their movies, right, by buying the awards. And that is straight up, that's a fact, yeah. That's 100% a fact. So again, then an anime movie can win the Oscar, right, because Disney is paying for it. Now Disney didn't produce or, you know, release or whatever, right, or distribute Your Name. So they're not giving any support there, right? And if you don't have like a, you know, a powerful house, a powerful, you know, studio, or even then like a massive corporation like Disney behind you, right? The Oscar guys aren't gonna care about you. That's the truth, right? So that's the whole reason, right? Because the Disney then paid to make Ghibli win the first time in the 80s something, and then they did it every time after, basically, right? And then also, of course, easier if you paid once or twice, right? If you paid for it, let's say the first 2 times, after that, the Oscar guys has to at least pretend they know what it is, right? Because they won twice before, so they have to be, oh, it's Ghibli, oh, sure, whatever, yeah. So they also have to pretend. So they also get cheaper probably because they're like, yeah, whatever, fine, you know. So it's kind of like that as well, right? And also, when I say pay, I mean literally pay, right? But if you ignore the actual values like monetary incentive, right? By Disney also being the producer, they can also talk, you know, to the other people in the Hollywood and so on, say, I want this movie, and I'll scratch more of your back, my back, you know, and so on too, right? It also is the, you know, connection and so on, right? So again, right, that the other anime movies, like from other companies, doesn't have that, right? Yeah, they don't have the support of Disney behind them, right? That is why Your Name, Silent Voice, you know, The Beast and the Boy, whatever, right? That's why they can never, Mirai and so on. That's why they can never win, right? And they lose like Boss Baby, because Boss Baby is produced by this mega company, right? Who does Boss Baby? Who is the Boss Baby? But it's like one of these massive corporations, right? I would imagine Boss Baby has a massive corporation behind them. Yeah, DreamWorks Animation, right? So it's owned by yeah, it's so DreamWorks Corporation, yeah. So you know it's owned then as yeah. So you know part of the massive thing, right? And it's or the voice actors, yeah, it's like Alec Baldwin and so on, and the voice actors are pretty big as well, right? So they also got connections then, you know, with like Jimmy Kimmel and yeah. So it's exactly that. I had a good example of that, like the Boss Baby wins again, not because it's better, right, than for example Your Name that year, right? Boss Baby, was it Boss Baby 2, right? Yeah, Boss Baby 2 beats Your Name and Silent Voice, right? Not because it's better, but because it has a much bigger production studio behind it, right? You know, and also, yeah, speaking that, some of these actors, right, in Boss Baby are very famous, right? So they might just talk to friends and say, "Oh, it'd be nice if I could win," you know, and then that friend talks to their friend happens to be a judge. You know? So that's how it works, right? And I think people has to realize how the world. This is why I never have any faith, right, in these awards. And the same thing for that matter, we had the Game Awards a few weeks ago, right? And I was even an official streamer. Yeah, for Game Awards, because they even for Game Awards you can be an official streamer, right? So you get on a kit and so on, you get some lists and so on. So I was an official streamer for Game Awards. And when we did that stream reaction then a few weeks ago, right? It's the same thing there, you know. The Game Awards is also a lot like, oh, who knows who, you know, oh, this guy, for example, Hideo Kamiya and, you know, and the guy behind, I can't remember his name now, but the guy behind Video Game Awards, they're like best friends, you know, or whatever, yeah. He's always gets announced. He's always the, you know, it's always like that. You know what I mean? It's always like that, right? Yeah, you have to be, you know, corrupt and so on. Yeah, but you're coming now in the end, Kutelum. You're coming now in my rant the end here. You're coming now in. You're here at my rant the end. You are coming to my end rant. You're coming to my end rant, man. I'm just ranting about the world being terrible. No, but it's just like this is a good example. Yeah, Yaiba Kongming. So what I'm talking about right now is that the only reason. Basically, if I summarize here, the only reason that Yai by Kongming is in this list here, over, for example, Isekai Oji-san, is because Crunchyroll owns this show. They don't own Isekai Oji-san, right? So I'm just being cynical here, talking about the part here of like, you have to think about that too, right? And yeah, it's the political stuff. It is the hate for ecchi and whatever, so on, right? Or the premise, right? Like Mustenshi being in the world, so on, right? And then it's the sin, the like the money, right? It's the money. It's a combination of those things, right? But that's also why I always find it so weird, Yen speaking. Now I'm going to limb here, but I think Yen speaking is kind of weird that you do have stuff though where I feel like this is very motivated by money, right? Like this show here is a money motivation, right? But then some other stuff, which is more on the political agenda, is like a negative monetary effect for them. So that is kind of weird. So I do find that kind of strange how these people are acting, because they clearly are both being, you know, they're losing money to some extent, right, for their political affiliation, right? But they're also obsessed by hating on shows that are not owned by themselves, right? So it's like a really weird. Those things are very illogical, right? Like you should either be like money, screw that thing, right? Yeah, but that's also why I feel. Generally saying, right? But yeah, this is mad about a lot of things. No, but this is also mad. Yeah, mad about a lot of things. But it makes me not just mad, but honestly, the word I'm looking for, right? I don't think it's mad, but the word I'm looking for is that I just feel like Crunchyroll and the judges are so disingenuous, right? They're so unauthentic, because, like, if they had this, like, let's say it, they were like purely on their faith, right? Okay, we cannot have an anime that is too ecchi. Like, screw that, right? You know, we blah blah blah. So on. If they had hardcore on their conviction, right, of property and this stuff and so on, right? But if they're gonna do that, you also have to ignore who owns the anime, right? Because at the same time, end of the day, right, Crunchyroll is clearly dictating that they have to pick animes that are owned by the company or streamed by the company, right? So they're trying to be like, oh look at me, I'm so pure and I'm greater than you, I'm properly, they have this like grandstand of being proper or pure and faith and that stuff, right? Almost like a religious person, right? They're very like I'm so good, right? But at the same time, they are also like very money driven because they're like, well, we can't talk about that anime because they don't own it. You know what I mean? Like there's no summertime render, right? For example, right? But of course you're gonna use your own power, right? Yeah, you're gonna use your own sway on Twitter and so on. But the problem, I have no problem. But the thing is that if you go down here in the list, right? For example, the best example I'm talking about is that they actually do have Mushoku Tensei again, even though it makes no sense because they did add it 2 years ago, right? But what I'm talking about is that, you comment there, right? I don't have any problem people using their influence or their sway or whatever, right? For whatever you want, I have no problem doing that. What I don't like with people, this is actually why I got into some arguments with some other YouTubers last week and 2 weeks ago, is that I don't like people that are dishonest, right? You know what I mean? I don't like people that are fake, right? I have no problem with people being like, oh, I'm using my influence to sway people in whatever, right? In political voting, whatever. Do that then. As long as you stand for it, you know what I mean? If I'm like, oh, I want you to vote for this party, right? I believe in this party, vote for that party, right? If I say that, you go vote for that, that's fine, right? But if I'm saying that, but at the same time, someone is paying me, under the table, be like, tell them to vote for this party. I'm like, okay, bro, I give you money. Vote for that party, That's the difference, right? If someone is like bribing me to tell you to do something, right? Then I'm obviously being dishonest, right? And I think that's where I think Crunchyroll really comes in this category, right? Because they really do grandstand, right? They will try their best, right, to ignore animes like Mushoku Tensei because it's ecchi, right? So they will try to pretend these animes exist. And this is really stupid because I don't understand why MT is even in this category, right? It aired not last year, 2 years ago, and they have it in this category, yet it's not in any other category, even though it's, in many people's viewpoint, the best anime of that year, 21 then, but yeah. But in many people's perspective, it's the best anime in many years. Yet it's only in one category. That makes no sense, right? And the reason happening is because they want to grandstand. They want to say that Rudy is a pervert, right? They don't hate. Rudy is ecchi. Rudy gets pantsy, and so on, right? And they do that, right, to grandstand, right? But at the same time, the judges are like, this anime here isn't actually that good, but I'm gonna promote this anime because they're paying me to do it, right? So they're both grandstanding on like, I don't like ecchi or whatever, right? But they're also taking money to claim that a show is good, which is good, right? So that's the thing, right? But yeah, so if you use your power to sway people or whatever, right? But if you actually believe in it, that's the thing. Yeah, if you have an influence, right? If you're something like Mr. Beast or whatever, right? With massive influence, right? And if Mr. Beast is like, you should vote for this party or whatever, right? But he actually believes in that candidate. I mean, that is fine, right? But if he got paid on the side to say that obviously would be like quite the behavior, right? Yeah, that is the huge difference, right? Of course, it's probably hard to bribe someone here because he's so rich, right? Or rich, but he has money anyway. But it's like, it's harder to bribe someone if they have a lot of money or whatever, right? So to speak. But I think this is a perfect example here in Mushoku Tensei why they're so dishonest, because we all know that they are like, this anime is really good, but I don't want to talk about it, right? Because the character steals panties, right? They don't want to talk about it. It's just like my Discord link, but I think I had used to redo it, so I had to remove this. I can do it again here. Oh yeah, do you take my Discord link from my description? Okay, we tried actually my Discord link from my channel though. That's a good point though, because my description in the videos might be old. For example, you're talking about my Loom video, right? But the Discord link that I have for if you go to my channel should be the new one. because I just updated that one like a few days ago, like 3 days ago. But if you're talking about the one that might be in descriptions, that might be another link. That's a great point. Let me give me a second there. That's a really good point, actually. I might have forgot to. That's a great point. I might have forgot to change the. Let's see. Invitation link for Discord, because there are two different places, right? You can look at my Discord links, from the main channel, right? So aside the videos, you can look at the Discord link, right? You press the button, you get to Discord. But you also have a Discord link that you can find in the description. But that is a good point. I might have forgot to update the description link, but I'm pretty sure I updated the other link. And now I'm immediately like, how do this is always weird on YouTube, because it keeps YouTube is like, yeah, customize channel. YouTube keeps changing how you edit this stuff. It's like, I feel like last year it was something different how you did it. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, how does it? Yes, okay, great, yeah. But I think you're right. Yeah, the description link and the Discord link on my channel is different, yeah. It's like, thanks, that's a great point, yeah. Yeah, so I updated that on my latest video now. But that's a good point. I'm gonna go and update that on my future descriptions, yeah. So I changed my description now, for example, on the Gender Bender show. So now if you press the Gender Bender show, you're gonna get the right link. But that's good, yeah. My like, what's it called? My like copy pasta on my description was wrong. Yeah, you're right. But now it should be the right thing. But it should be the right thing, I hope so at least, if you press the Discord on yeah. But you should have the right. I can press it here anyway and get it here in the. This should be the latest one. There in the. This should be the latest one in Discord. But that's a great point, yeah, because I. For Discord, Discord is, they keep changing, you have to update it sometimes, and even if you press this link, you change some rules or whatever you do it. Yeah, so that's a good point. And then Twitter, as a side note, I never got that, but like Twitter changed the rules, right? So usually on Twitter, you can have a link tree to all my different stuff, right? Instagram, whatever, right? And then on Twitter, like last month, they changed the rules. So now you can't anymore use link tree or something, with Elon Musk being like, no, you can't link to all the stuff. I don't know, but yeah, I think that should be the current one. And but if you go to the main channel, if you go to the channel, you see the icons, right? On YouTube, you have this thing. You can see different icons, right? That Discord channel should be the right one. Unless it also is old now, or maybe that's old now anyway. No, I lost my rant, bro. I lost my rant. I lost my rant. No, but it's just that dishonesty is. I think it's a very good thing to explore, right? The dishonesty of these people is just kind of mind boggles me, right? Because the way I look at it, right? No, I'm not a purist, right? I'm not a purist whatsoever. But if I was a purist, right? If I was a purist and I was like, no ecchi anime, no oppies, no plot, no big butts, whatever, right? If I was that kind of guy, right? I was like, screw that. We're only gonna have proper animes that are, wholesome and action, whatever, right? Yeah. If I was that guy, right? I wouldn't, care about who producing what anime, right? I would be like, you can't bribe me. I only, I wouldn't like take that kind of money to be like, oh yeah, but this anime is good. No, I would be. Then I feel I would be a purist in every way, right? I think people that are kind of like dishonest purists, kind of thing, grandstanding, and then also not actually being an honest grandstander, it just feels like a really weird thing to me. Yeah, to me that is just like, okay, but make up your mind, man. Here's a very good example of it. Like, where is the cap isn't here? I don't know. I don't know the rules, I suppose, but yeah, this is one of the weirdest categories. Best original anime, and it's like one good anime. Yeah, Lycaros Recall. The rest of them are like all pretty bad. This is like, oh, okay, but I guess the rules are that the anime can't have any kind of previous work or something. It can't have a manga or nothing. It's a very weird category. That way, actually, the worst category was best anime song, because it's just opening and ending in the same. It's just the same category. No, this was the worst category. Yeah, the worst category was best anime song, because yeah, it's just the openings again. It's just like, I heard you like the rumbling, so we have it twice. I like the rumbling too, guys, but I just think it's kind of funny that they straight up have the rumbling twice. Best opening and best song. Yeah, it's just like, oh why? And they removed best girl. They removed best girl, a best boy. I'm gonna have to make a best girl pool on the channel after this. They removed best girl. Which is the 6th best girl, guys? I mean, Marin is obvious, right? One of the best girls. It feels weird. They removed that, and they also removed best antagonist. You know what? Removing best antagonist is really dumb too. I mean, there's obviously a lot of dumb stuff with Crunchyroll every time, right? Worst isekai. Worst isekai is the rumblings. Isekai. Worst isekai. Oh man, what isekai aired last year? There's a hard question. There's always so many bad isekais. Okay, what is the worst isekai? Oh, the harem show maybe. Okay, maybe the harem show. The harem. You know what it's called again? You know, the guy that has a lot of fun stuff with waifus. Yeah, like that show is so bad in my opinion. And I mean, I like the waifus. You know what I mean? I don't mind the big butts. You know, like the worst isekai is probably what's called again. Isekai make you harem fu. This is arguably I think is the worst isekai, which is just like a hentai. Because I mean, I've seen this isekai. Okay, I reacted to it. I even got the Fruit of Evolution is better than this show though. The Fruit of Evolution is better than this show. I think it is because the Fruit of Evolution is the isekai when he gets like a pink waifu, right? He gets this like gorilla waifu, and she turns into a hot babe, right? But this show, I think is the worst probably because hear me out, okay? First of all, I streamed it on Twitch, my reaction, and Twitch took it down. Yeah, temporarily. I reacted to this anime, and I got like a temporarily that was like, what? Yeah. So this anime is kind of itchy, right? No, but the thing with this anime is that it has like no storytelling, okay? It has like no storytelling. It's just like the guy gets to this new world, right? And he buys slaves, like nothing whatever, right? But there's like no characterization. He just smashes, He just smashes. Yeah, it's just a hentai. This anime has like the bare minimum storytelling. There's an OVA of this show, okay? This is an OVA that aired maybe like a month ago. That is a hentai, yeah. I've seen it, okay? I looked at the OVA. I didn't react to it. I didn't review it. I just looked at the OVA. I was like, because OVAs have less censoring, right? Because of Japanese laws, an OVA can have less, they can show more oppas, right? So I looked at the OVA in private, right? For racist purposes, seriously. And I turned it off immediately because it was just like a bang scene. Yeah, it was just like, oh, let's go. Yeah, I was like, what is this? This is a hentai. It was no storytelling. It's just him and the main girl doing it in a bedroom for 5 minutes. That's the OVA. I was just like, what is this? There is literally no storytelling. It is straight up a hen. And the thing is that it's also like a boring hen, right? Because not to be that guy, but I know my hen stuff. No, but seriously, right? There's so much better hen stuff than this anime. It really is. Because if you watch a really good hen, right? And I mean, I'm talking about the good hens. I'm talking about the mangas and everything, and the animes, right? Many of them have really good storylines, right? They have interesting characters, gender bender, whatever. Interesting characters. This guy is a guy, goes to a world, he buys a slave, and then he just smashes her at every episode. That's the only storytelling. There is no other storytelling. And then they just... Yes, and it was slow paced too. I dropped this anime after like 6 episodes because you see the image here, right? He has like 4 or 5 waifus, right? The red top, her oppas are like this big, yeah. The red-haired woman, her oppas are big as her whole body, yeah. Her oppas are like literally this big, like seriously. Her oppas are like this sizable at least, yeah. Probably more than that. It's like 3 pesetas per oppa. She never appears in the anime. I don't know. They never even appear. Like, she is kind of like... yeah, I don't even know, man. Yeah, DM me on Discord, but try the link too. Try the link that link to, and the new... and try the link in, otherwise in the channel as well, right? See it works. Because Discord is always like, I have to update the link in a week or whatever. But this anime... It's called a harem anime, and I think I dropped it the most because none of the other female characters had appeared until episode 6. Yeah, so I've seen half the anime, right? and yet I haven't seen the other 4 or 5 waifus. That made me just be like, I'm tired of the anime. Where are the other characters? It was really slow paced. Yeah, it was really slow paced. That is probably, I think, the worst isekai. In a sense, what other isekai is really bad? Okay, Seal Hero ad last year. Oh, it was terrible. Oh, I hated Seal Hero last year. Oh, I was so disappointed. Seal Hero was probably the most disappointing last year. Can we? Can you sort on like? Yeah, this is old stuff. Can you reverse this thing? I don't even remember, every animated ad last year. Isekai last year. No Game No Life, Open Potential. These are all the best animes. Like, Jesus Christ. What anime ad? Can you sort of like what anime ad? I don't remember every animated ad. Anime Mortify maybe. Yeah, here we go. This is the isekai or more these are new isekais. Yeah, this is go. Yeah, what is the worst isekai this season? Like last season. I actually liked this show. This show I think was great. I like this show. This is like slice of farmland. Yeah, Rimaru is like farming. This show I think was really funny. Rimaru building like a farm or so. I think that was great. That show was adorable. That show, the gorilla show is pretty bad. I agree that it's pretty bad, the gorilla show, but I don't think it's the worst show actually. This show I think is like it's very like slow pace as hell. Oh, this show was terrible too. This slime show. Oh man. This slime show, have you seen it? This like Rimaru, bad Rimaru? Oh my god, so bad. But yeah, it's like... Yeah, I don't know what the harem show would do, but the harem show would have to add like way more wives. I think there's one issue with... what is it called? The harem, the waifu anime is that he's basically just grinding half the episodes. Yeah, like it doesn't happen otherwise. You mean this thing? You mean this one? Yeah, this is kind of a nice slice of life anime. This one is. I think this show is hard to react to. This show. So I dropped it from like a reaction standpoint because it's very like yeah, it's kind of nice slice of life, right? This show though, this other slime show. This is not one you mean. You mean the other one, right? Nick, you mean this one, right? You don't mean this one, right? This one was terrible. This one was so bad. I dropped episode 1 and 2. They dropped 2 episodes one day, right? And I dropped it immediately. I was like, oh my god, this is like Rimaru, but it's so bad. So this is like, I'm a slime sorcerer or something, right? He gets a bunch of slime, he's OP, but it was just so bad. There was like these 2 girls out in this forest, and they get like ambushed by some bandits. Then they just get paralyzed by fear. I was just out of it. Grace of God. Is that the one with the? Is that the one with he's ugly, right? Grace of God. I don't remember Japanese. It was great. Yeah, of course, Kage is isekai. Oh yeah, what happened? Oh yeah, it's fall. They have no fall anime. It's so stupid. They have no fall anime. They have no fall anime, so they don't have Kage. Yeah, they don't have Shadow isekai. That's true. Oh yeah, Astaroth. What's that here? That's like classic old isekai from back in the days. Yeah, Assassin isekai. Was that last year? Oh yeah, that? No, that's 21. Yeah, no. Yeah. They have no Bleach. There's no Pushita. There's no Butchi. Their list is so bad. Their list is so bad, guys. This isekai is pretty good too, I think. Yeah, I want it to be normal. It's a pretty fun isekai, in my opinion, actually. Yeah. That's the gorilla. Oh yeah, this guy is kind of liked a lot too, Trapped in an isekai. Yeah, mob isekai. He has this like rude waifus. He's like, he got this like, tsundere waifu, and he's just like, I just want to be a normal guy. This is pretty good. I like it, yeah. Mob, of course, Edomakuru is an isekai, I guess. And Sword was pretty good too. And Skeleton, Skeleton was pretty good. I like Sword a lot. That was a pretty good isekai. And, Skeleton was a pretty good isekai. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, Grace. It's pretty good too. Also had last year. That's kind of the last year isekai, right? Yeah. There's so many isekais. I think I straight up, guys, would give the worst isekai last year to Harem. What is it? The Harem show. I genuinely think it's probably the worst isekai. That or the slime one when he just does nothing, like with the where did it go? Where is it? Isekai, sorry. Here it is. Yeah. I think I probably will give it this one. Yeah. Yeah, Otome Mob is pretty good. And that's pretty good too. Yeah, but I think this is the winner, guys. If you ask me what's the worst isekai, yeah, I think it is Harem. Because it's just a hen. It's just like a really slow-paced hen, right? And I said this thing. I was working a video about it for a while now, but this is a good point I want to make actually. That I make, I guess more than once, suppose, is that if you're gonna make an anime, right? No one, I don't mind, ecchi or plot, I don't mind some oppas or whatever, right? But if you're gonna make an anime that's ecchi, I think it's better, right? It has to be funny and ecchi, right? Or it has to be action and ecchi or whatever, right? Like an anime, for example, like let's say Chainsaw Man, right? That they ignore, right? With power and Makim and so on, right? Of course, it has plot, right? But it also got a really good storytelling around it, right? It's a good anime. It has stuff happening, right? It's a good anime. But this anime here, this is just a hentai, basically, right? It has no plot. They just go and grind. It's really boring and really slow paced when they go and grind for 10 minutes, right? They're like, yeah, I'm killing trees for 10 minutes. And then they go to a bedroom, and then they smash, and then they go and kill trees for 10 minutes, and then they go and smash. This is the whole anime. For like 6 episodes straight. Nothing else happens. They just like fight a boss, sex. Fight a boss, sex. There's nothing in between, right? And there's no joke or comedy around this. There's no like fine play around it, right? It's just boring. Oh yeah, Million Life, but that's not last season though. Million Life is a really bad, yeah, it's a pretty weird show too. Another isekai I don't like, but this didn't air last year, right? Is the what's it called, Eighth Son or whatever? Was it like 2-3 years ago? The guy, I'm the 8th son. He's a poor kid, right? Like he's like 7 brothers. He's the 8th born son, right? But he immediately becomes OP. It's just an isekai thing, right? He's complaining that, oh, I'm the poor son that has no inheritance, right? Then it means like an elf guy gets like rainbow man in like a day, right? So he immediately goes from being the poor son to the powerful rich son in like a day or like a week or whatever. Yeah, it's just like, oh my god, this is so isekai, man, so isekai. But it is true though that there isn't many isekais here at all, right? There's almost no isekais at all in this list. I mean, basically you only have fantasy, right? Yeah. You got the fantasy category, and then of course you have like two isekais. That's it. Yeah, you got Tenshi. Did it air last year? Idiots, right? They don't understand time or time zones, whatever. And Overlord. That's like the only isekai in the whole list. I don't think there are any other isekais at all in this list. Correct if I'm wrong. Which also seems kind of weird because yeah, I mean you have like so many isekais every year, right? Like 8, yeah, like 8. I mean 8 sound isn't like the worst thing ever. I'm saying like yeah, it's like that thing, and same thing with like what's called grandsons is what's called philosopher's grandson or whatever. Those, I mean they're like. There are many, isekais are pretty fine, yeah, so on, right? Many isekais, yeah, it's pretty good. But, yeah, they have like 2 isekais in total. I don't think there are any other isekais at all in this list. And they of course ignored Bleach and Chainsaw Man and all of the stuff, and they probably ignored... Was there any isekai last season? Yeah, Kage, yeah. They ignored Kage, of course. They ignored Kage, and they ignored Sword, right? Yeah, I'm a Sword. And they both aired last season. So those isekais are out, right? Otherwise, for example, Kage is probably one of the better isekais, right? That I could see them nominating otherwise. I haven't just seen Overlord season 4. I haven't seen season 3 either. I think I dropped it around 2 or something. I've never been super in love with Overlord, even though I've seen like almost every isekai. I wasn't really super in love with it. It was all the lizard stuff or something. I remember I was working at a game company back in season 2 probably, yeah. And I remember my coworker, he loved Overlord, right? So he talked about every week. He was like, it's a bunch of like lizards doing it. he was talking about the lizards like smashing or something. I remember he was like complaining about every week. He was complaining about the lizard hen stuff or something. It was very, very strange. I hadn't seen season 2 yet, and he just kept talking about how it was like that. That was just weird. Yeah, but the thing is that I thought about earlier before you go on the stream, right? But I think you can explain it I think you can explain that thing by a very easy notion, actually. If you look at like best action or whatever, right? It's just the popular stuff. Yeah, I think you can explain this thing in a very easy way. So what you're referring to, right, Nick, right, is that yes, Crunchyroll. and I mentioned this earlier, like an hour ago in the stream, that it's a very boring list, right? Coming in here, right, as an anime guy or whatever, that watches most animes, right? The list is very, very boring because, yeah, we get like, oh, you have the same anime 10 times, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like cyberpunk every category. It's a Titan category, right? You know, it's like these few animes over and over and over again. And so I agree completely that it's very, very basic, right? Yeah, it's very generic, whatever you call it, right? It's very, very like popular, casual shows, right? That's very, very true. But I'll talk about it earlier, and I think the main reason why is just because the judges doesn't watch anime, right? The reason it's happening, as I explained earlier, then, is that think about it, right? You have these 40 judges, right? Most of the people actually judging these shows are into anime. Most of them is like IGN editor, you know, and this guy is like, maybe he writes about video games, right? He's like Call of Duty author, basically, right? I write about COD, right, you know, and sometimes he has to write about anime at IGN, right? So once a week he writes about everyone is hating on this anime because this guy is a hentai or whatever, you know what I mean? That's kind of his job, right? He writes about anime sometimes. Right? So these people, not all of them, right, but some of the judges have literally, and I mean literally, have not seen any other anime except these animes, right? That is the issue, right? They've only seen the most popular mainstream animes. They have seen the controversial animes, so they can write a hit piece of them, right? And they have seen the biggest animes. They haven't seen every other anime in between, right? So they haven't seen these, like, you know, lesser known animes that we watch, because, you know, I watch like all the animes. You guys here, you probably watch most animes, right? Because, you know me, I watch like at least 1-2 animes per day, right? Probably more than that, right? So of course I get to see all the different crazy animes, right? And some of them are really, really good, right? But these guys, they are the judges. They have actually only seen Attack on Titan, Cyberpunk, whatever, right? You know, the big shows, right? Demon Slayer and so on. They've only seen the shows. So for them it's like, what should I pick in my top 6? I only have 6 animes that I watched, right? That's kind of why, that is actually why they're ignoring, I would say, non-popular shows. It isn't actually because they are too afraid or whatever to go outside the box or whatever, in the sense that they can't pick from there. I think it's more so that most of the judges haven't actually seen any non-popular anime. And I know it's like a weird, maybe it's, you know, nitpicky thing to say, but I think it's just, I'm trying to describe why I think the issue appears, right? The issue appears because these guys, they basically only watch the bigger shows, and then they end up having the same thing here, because like, oh yeah, Demon Slayer, this, you know, this show, yeah, same show again, you know, oh, best character, or could it be Aaron Yeager, could it be Lloyd? I mean, this is basically the same list, right? Look at the best director, again, you know, Demon Slayer, you know, Cyberpunk, right, etc., you know, I mean, Spice Family, but yeah, blah blah blah, you know, Attack Titan, best character, Attack on Titan, but still, yeah, it's like the same list, right? Yeah, it's basically the exact same list over and over again. And then of course it's because the judges mostly haven't seen the other animes, and I can imagine, honestly, what a hellhole it probably is to be a judge if you're actually an anime fan with these judges. It probably is incredibly fascinating. I have not been that in my life for Crunchyroll, right? But I've been in it for gaming, okay? So I've done it for gaming stuff. For example, I've been on, I was like a cancer, like 6-7 years ago, it's not to do with my YouTube here, I was on this like cancer thing, right? I was like a host of this like, you know, children cancer donation thing and so on, etc., right? Etc. So I've done this stuff in my life, you know, for gaming mostly before, right? And, and the tell you guys, it's very frustrating, you know, being like the only, you know, gamer, right? And the other guys, yes, they play video games, but they don't really play games, right? So I'm sitting there, right, with these like, you know, 20 people, you know, talking about, oh, what games should we nominate and so on, right? And I'm just like, yeah, I played, you know, 5 games per month, this sort of test. I would say this is the best game for January, this is the best game for February, this and this. And these guys are like, I played Candy Crush, you know what I mean? That is actually kind of how it is, right? You're like, yeah, okay, but we're talking about the new games released in 15, right? And they're like, I haven't played those games. And I'm just like, why are you here for? That is actually how it is. And usually how it is, it's a little extreme, but usually how it is that, right, is that most of the judges in this situation really is that they have basically played, you know, like a few games, right? Yeah, they play oh, I played these big games, Call of Duty, whatever, League or whatever. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, okay, fine. But we're discussing the best game of whatever, last year, right? And they haven't even played Elden Ring. They haven't even played God of War, whatever. Yeah. Or rather, I think today then usually what you find out is that they only played Elden Ring or God of War because they knew that was popular. So they bought that game, only played that game. And I'm just like, okay, great, but we have to discuss this other genre, like strategy games. What strategy game have you played? And they're just like, what's a strategy game? You know what I mean? That's usually how it is. So that's generally how it is. I've been in this situation many times in my life. So I can just imagine how frustrating though it has to be a judge, honestly, on Crunchyroll Awards, because I'm sure that like 80% of them haven't seen any other anime except Attack on Titan and Spy X Family and so on. Right? So there's probably like 4 or 5 people, after 40 people, sitting there being like, okay, I have seen this anime. It's called Virgin Road. It's a really good anime. It's time traveling mechanics. The main character is Yandere. It's very interesting. It's great twists, right? And blah blah blah, right? And then 39 people on the 40 is like, Virgin Road. It has a kind of hentai, No, it's like an ecchi. No, it's not really. It's like a Yuri, but it's really good. It's time traveling and you know what I mean. That's probably how it is, right? Like it's like 1 or 2 people that have seen the old anime and they're trying to explain them, and they get like, oh, you're kind of perv, I can feel the pain. Like it's just, I can feel pain, man. For that matter, as a side note, I was working on a platform game. Man, this was God, I'm feeling old. This is like, I don't want to say it. Like 14 years ago, yeah. 14 years ago. Man, I feel old, guys. I feel so old. Old, gray-haired man, yeah. 14 years ago, okay, I was working on a platform game, right? So I was the lead game designer or whatever on this platform game, okay. And I was trying to explain, the premise, right? Not premise, but I mean like the general gameplay, right? To the developers, right? To the coders, right? Okay, I was like, okay, this our platform game, right? That these new people, right? Oh, it's like Sonic mixture with Earthworm Jim, right? So we're gonna do the stages, it's quick pace, blah blah, right? And the developers look at me in my face, they're like, Sonic? I was like, yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog, from Sega. And they were like, and I played the game. And I'm like, okay, it's kind of like Mario. Not really like Mario, but kind of like Mario. And they're like, yeah, I know what Mario. Okay, good. So it's like kind of Mario. I never played Mario. I'm like, have you never played Mario? And I was like, why are you a game developer if you never played Mario? Right? And I'm just getting like this attack. And they're like, no, but I play, WoW at the time. I play WoW in League. I'm like, okay, great. So have you played any other game? Not really. Like, I've been in that situation, and I'm like, oh my god, why are you a game developer if you only play like one video game? Like, I've been there, seriously. But I'm sitting there being like, holy shit, why? If I say, right, here's my reference, Sonic the Hedgehog, okay? If you work with me in the game industry, I assume that you know who Sonic is. If you play a Sonic game, right? It's kind of like, if you're a movie director, if you work in the movie industry, I assume that you have seen, The Godfather, right? You know what I mean? I assume that you have seen these famous movies, right? I think honestly, I've been here for many years in the game industry, and I've always been very surprised when I meet game developers, right? Or game artists, or whatever, game people in the game industry, and they haven't actually played some of these very, like, notorious games like Mario, Sonic, Final Fantasy, whatever, so on, Diablo. It makes me very, very surprised when they don't know these games, right? But that happens all the time, actually. All the time. so I'm just expecting, trust me, I know that these people, they're gonna claim, oh, I'm a journalist. I work at IEN, I write about anime, you know what I mean? That's what they're gonna claim, right? But in reality, trust me, most of them don't watch anime. I mean, they watch a few animes, like the end. That's how it is. Rant mode, guys. Yeah, exactly. They're gonna say, like, I watch shonen shows, yeah. But that's the thing too, right? So most people, of course, are watching, like, One Piece, My Academia, and so on. I love those shows. I love My Academia, so don't get me wrong. But that's kind of funny because, of course, Crunchyroll, they hate shonen stuff, right? Yeah. Crunchyroll, they never nominate My Academia. I said earlier, beginning of the stream, like, the best opening, right? Black Clover can never win that, right? Yeah. So Crunchyroll has this hatred. It's kind of funny because just like you say, right? Most people, they watch shonen stuff, right? That's the popular shows, right? But then Crunchyroll, they are like shonen shows. Those are for children, right? So they don't want to nominate those shows, right? They're too popular, right? So instead, they want to be pretentious. So instead, they kind of like, well, we can't nominate like My Academia or Bleach, right? They can't have Bleach or like Shane show about this show, like perfect main character. Yeah, we can't nominate that shit, right? So they don't want to nominate, Denji and Power and so on, right? But I think, honestly, one reason why they skipped over the fall season, right, is probably because what are some of the most popular fall shows is Bleach, which is owned by Disney, which they hate, right? And it's Chainsaw Man, which again is a perfect main character, right? So they don't want to talk about shows. That's absolutely, I'll say, one of the main reasons why. But anyway, yeah, it's interesting because Crunchyroll, they don't want to nominate the shonen shows, but they do want to nominate these shows because they only see the main shows, right? They only see the cast, so they kind of get this like just lesser than that show, and yeah, they can't really nominate them. They never. I think that. Let's see. I think 1 year they didn't nominate Black Clover, but it was like Capcom that were. How was it? I think it was Capcom that were sponsoring the anime awards because they just had released Devil May Cry 5, so they got to make their own category. So their category was like cool fights something. It was like fights, yeah. It was like shonen fights, right? Yeah. And that was the only good category. It was like Yami versus Lich, It was like Boruto fight. Yeah, that was the only category that was good. It was like Capcom developer being like, these are 6 good animes. Yeah, it was really funny. It was like some Japanese game designer like, these are 6 good animes. Yeah, and the rest of the list was like terrible as always. But that list was like legit. Yeah, that guy was like not working on Crunchyroll. It's come in there like, here's the list, guys, and deliver the list, right? But Bleach was really good. But I mean, I made my thumbnail, right? I made my thumbnail before I knew they were gonna ignore Bleach, right? I just assumed they were gonna ignore Bleach even before I heard about it, because why? I keep saying it, right? It's owned by Disney. That is just the bottom line, right? The bottom line is Crunchyroll. They've always done this. They always try to ignore shows they don't own. I said that to the team, yeah. They always try to ignore the shows. So, Bleach was a really good part 1. But of course, Crunchyroll is like, oh, we lost the rights, right? The Disney bought the rights of them. So, I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but can you watch Bleach on Crunchyroll right now? The old episodes. I don't think so, right? The new episodes are only on Hulu and Disney, right? Which is completely fair, right? A company can buy the streaming rights. I think it's good, I think it's good. People make fun of Disney jailed, right? And the Disney Plus and with summertime and so on. People make fun of them, right? But I think it's really good, honestly. I think it's fantastic in a way that Disney is like, F it, we're gonna buy anime. I think it's great. Disney got more money, right? And I genuinely am really happy that Disney started to buy some animes. Yes, they might not release it perfectly time frame. Yes, they have region locks and stuff. I'm not saying it's a good system, but generally speaking, given how Crunchyroll does a lot of dumb stuff, right? Remember, what's it called again? Oh god, the terrible fantasy show, Spice Nights. What's it called again? It was so terrible that my brain has like pretended never existed. High Guardian Spice, right? Remember High Guardian Spice? High Guardian Spice was like the worst thing ever, right? And basically every original anime done by Crunchyroll is utter garbage, right? And Disney, to be fair, right? Disney actually makes pretty good shows. I mean, I'm not talking about anime, but I mean like whatever, Wander Over Yonder and so on. Yeah, Disney actually makes somewhat good shows, right? By themselves, right? And movies, somewhere, right? Obviously, everything Crunchyroll has produced ever has been utter garbage, like more or less, right? They've never had anything good from themselves, basically. Doesn't exist, right? So High Guardian Spice, I reviewed it, okay? It was the worst thing I've seen in my life, basically. It was like literally hell to watch it. I felt like bad, okay? And I reviewed it, was it 2 years ago? And I hated every minute of it, right? And I watched it, and I really felt like I don't want to live anymore. It was so bad, okay? That is what Crunchyroll has used their money for, right? To produce the absolute worst garbage ever. And I really mean that, because that show is like a 0 out of 10 show, right? It's incredibly terrible. So that Disney's coming in and saying that, you know what, we're gonna buy Bleach, yeah, and that's a good point. Maybe they have to copyright the opposite, yeah. They're gonna come in there. They're gonna buy Summertime and so on. I think that's great, honestly. I don't think it's good that Disney has Disney Yale, that stuff is so on, right? But Disney's probably gonna make it better. They're probably gonna streamline it better, right? And we're gonna get better this one. That is good that, because obviously Sony bought Crunchyroll, right? So it's almost a monopoly, right? They only have basically Disney to compete them, and it's good. Again, I think it's good because they need to lose more animes, right? I want business to buy more animes, honestly, right? It might sound like I'm corporate, no, but I'm just like, it is better, I think, for all the anime fans, right? If you have a couple of corporations fighting over anime, having one monolith, right? Which is Crunchyroll, right? The monolith. And they own all the animes, and then they have super bad ideas, and they just make terrible shit, right? I don't want that. It's oh my god, insect. The Insect Whore Island anime, that's interesting. But anyway, if you haven't, I can explain it briefly if you have, man. If you haven't seen High Order Spice, the worst anime ever, I can explain it briefly because I have seen the show, okay? I'm not just some random brand. I want to use some random brand. Let me get an image of it. High Guardian Spice, yeah. Let me just rant about that for a bit. We're sitting here ranting about Crunchyroll anyway, so this is fitting, I feel, for this. This is fitting for the stream, I mean. This is basically the worst anime ever, right? That image didn't work. I can try again. No, the image doesn't work. It's too High Garden Spice, and of course, doesn't work, man. Let me just. Why doesn't it work for? I put an image of it, but it doesn't. That's now. Nope. That image is not okay. Okay, that's not the image then. This is good. Okay, I'm trying again. There we go. Covered my body, but whatever. Yeah, whatever. You can look at that. I don't care. So High Garden Spice, right? This is like the worst anime ever. And I have actually seen it, right? I'm also saying that I actually did watch the whole show and I reviewed it. You can find it on my channel. It's just like, it's just really bad. Honestly, it's just really, really bad. The biggest thing I would say about it is that it got kind of famous, right? Because when they made the trailers for it, the only thing they did in the trailer was talking about the gender and race, right? You know, like all the people working on it was like, oh, I am, I'm gay. It was like a really weird trailer, and I think generally so, right? They were made fun of, right, by a lot of people on the internet. And I think that was definitely fair because if I make a trailer, I made some trailer about the games that I worked on. For example, I made this COD trailer many years ago. My favorite trailer I worked on is Call of Duty, Black Ops 2. Probably find on YouTube. You know, one of my favorite trailers I worked on. Right, this is a trailer I worked on. Call of Duty Origin. This is my favorite game trailer I made. I didn't make it myself, but I'm just saying, you know, I was one of the developers in this game. This is probably one of my favorite trailers I worked on. So I worked on this trailer like many years ago, which is Call of Duty Origins, right? Which is, I think is a really good trailer, right? You run in so when you fight and so on. I think it's like really one of my favorite. This is one of my favorite works that I've done in my life. So I remember working this thing and designing the fights and doing the art and so on, all the stuff, right? Good song. So anyway, so for example, I worked on this trailer, whatever. It's true, you can believe it or not, but yeah. So I used to work for Blizzard Division back in the days, right? So anyway, when I worked on this trailer, imagine that instead of having these like cool zombie fights, right? Like here we get the character shooting the zombie, we introduce Nikolai, we introduce the character, you can probably introduce the character so much. This is a good trailer, right? Because we are showing action, we are showing the landscape of the DLC, right? It's like the zombie mode, so you're showing the area you're fighting, so right, and you're showing the characters, right? Instead of having this trailer, instead of this character appearing, you can play in the game. It will appear me instead. I'm like, hey guys, so I'm working on Call of Duty and I'm gay. You know what I mean? That was basically the High Guardian trailer. Yeah, like literally, right? It was like the worst trailer for a show ever. Yeah, it was so absurd. They basically had they were like, here's our new anime. By the way, I am a lesbian and also gay and also I like ladies. That was a trailer. It was first of all, it was the worst trailer ever, right? From Crunchyroll, yeah. So Crunchyroll, right? They take money, right? Or they I guess the siphon money, rather. So the siphon money from Japanese developers, right? From Japanese studios. They're middle hand, right, between those. So the siphon funds, right, from Japanese studios that produce anime, right? And they take that money and they make this show, right? They call it anime. And the trailer is like, hey, by the way, we're all gay. Or something. And nothing is from being gay. I'm just saying that it's such a weird trailer. It really was one of the absolute worst trailers I've ever seen in my life. And from having worked on many trailers, I've done maybe like 20 trailers, right, for video games in my life, right? Having produced trailers myself, I could never fathom, right, making a game trailer, again, that I worked on this trailer, right? Making this trailer and say, you know what, let's take a 3-minute break and talk about our race and gender, Or actually, I got blue hair, something. It doesn't make any sense. It's just so weird. And I think that's a large portion, right, where people don't really like Crunchyroll either, because, yeah, Crunchyroll has a notorious track record, right, of basically just taking the money they make to produce this stuff. But anyway, oh yeah, there's so much better Euro shows. But the thing is that High Garden Spice, I'm not gonna do the full review here, of course. I have made a video about it, like half an hour video about it 2 years ago. But to be fair, right, this show was just really boring. I think that's the end of it that I really want to explain here, if people really care about their failures, is that this show is really boring. End of today, I don't really, I watch this show, right? I don't really, obviously, it's like, some character is transgender, some character is lesbian, right? Some is gay, etc. All of that isn't the issue, That's not the issue, of course. And it's not really a bother for me that it's very, girl power and they're all lesbians or whatever. Again, I loved, Lycos Recon. Great anime, right? I love Gundam. Oh my god. Gundam even better, I think. Soletta Miorine. I love ketchup scene right there. Soletta Miorine. That's a gay couple, right? They even getting married, right? Objectively, they're like fiancés, so they're even like, they're official couple, right? They're official gay couple. That's a great anime, right? So the issue isn't that the cats are gay, right? The issue is this show is just really boring. You watch a show where nothing happens. It was dreadfully boring. It's like, oh, my mom is missing, and she was like a badass super lady, so I want to become a warrior to find my mom. That's the premise, right? So the main character goes to school, basically academia, right? Medical academia school to train to fight and then find her mom something. And then nothing happens. It's almost none of that has any storyline. They just kind of do stuff. And every character is quite dislikable. It's just like they're all dislikable. It's just weird. But at the end of the day, it's like a 1 out of 10, 0 10 show because it's just really, really boring. And it's like a weird because I barely can even critique it, saying that, oh, this scene was bad or this scene was bad. It's more like the pacing is terrible. The main story progresses like 2 episodes. You can literally skip episode 2 to 11. Only the first and the last episode and the storyline, basically. Everything in between is just kind of boring and it doesn't progress the main story, right? And so on. So it has so many writing issues, right? So the whole thing of like, yeah, we're gay and whatever, all that doesn't matter, right? In the end of the day, it's a really boring show, and that's why no one likes it. And you can kind of tell it's a boring show because if all the authors only talk about their gender or whatever, instead of saying, oh, this is a great show, right? Because it's a really interesting character, he has cool action. They're not trying to sell you on the actual show, right? They're trying to sell it on them as a person. Clearly, something's gonna be wrong with the show, right? But the general thing, though, with this show, I think is kind of funny. Honestly, is that this show, High Garden Spice, again, this is obviously Crunchyroll's worst failure, even worse than having no fault, even worse than ignoring Bleach and so on. And so on. The worst thing with the show is that it's quite racist. Okay? I made a video about that, and I stand by saying that. This show is comedy kind of a race show, right? Because the thing is that, if you look at these authors, right? They're so focused on political stuff and blah 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 and so, right? And that's fine, it can be that, right? Go for it, right? But this show is dreadfully badly written because every character in this show is a stereotype, The dwarf is the blacksmith, The dark elf is a backstabber, so on. It's kind of like, have you seen Zootopia? It's like the fox is sneaky. You know what I mean? They show it hilarious in the sense. Hilarious is bad because because it's a fantasy show, right? And every character is a fantasy, you know, an elf and a dwarf and so on. Why is literally like every character a stereotype? Like the dwarf is like, I like blacksmithing, you know what I mean? Like every character is a stereotype. It's hilariously stereotypical. I mean, generally, yeah. Like every character in the show, I was watching the show would be like, it's amazingly stereotypical. Everyone is like straight up the stereotype you expect them to be. It's like hilarious. You're watching it be like, oh yeah, that's true. Or the dark elf is a backstabber. Oh, interesting. Oh, I see. Why, yeah. Or the human. Oh, she's like that. Oh, I see. Yeah, typical human, dualistic human. Yeah, I see. Yeah. The white humans are evil and so on. Of course they are. But yeah, I don't know, guys. I could rant for hours about Crunchyroll. It's just so everything is so bad. Like this thing. I love this part. Best original anime, and they can't even come up with 6 animes. They're like this anime and then something else that no one saw. I can here is probably the most obvious reason that you know that the judges haven't seen the animes, right? There's no way that these 40 judges sat down and watched Birdie win. This is like a sexy golf. It's like big ass playing golf. There's no way they sat down and they watched this anime. There's no way this like IGN, you know, like anime writer sat down and watched like waifu golf swings. Okay, no way. No, I see this anime. It's not a very good anime. This anime is pretty terrible, but it's very sexy too. You're like, oh yeah, the cameras are going up her chest and so on. Yeah, there's no way they watch this anime. No way. They just had to like make a list of, you know, new animes. They couldn't come up with other animes. It's so obvious. They were like, we need to have 6 animes that no one has seen. Oh, this anime. I mean, obviously, Shisato is gonna win, right? Everyone knows that best Genki girl is gonna win anyway. This is one of those categories where I probably have a cool image of Shisato here. This, yeah. Everyone knows that, you know, Genki best girl is gonna win, right? We all know that this woman is gonna win, yeah. These other animes are so irrelevant for this list. It's just like loading animes, right? Yeah, what is it? Like golf? No. The other animes, they have no purpose, basically. The other animes are like, no one has seen this show, you know. Vampire in the Garden, no. They're all gonna get, you know, stomped by her, yeah. They're terrible animes. What more is this kind of funny? Can I wrap it up soon, guys? Yeah, I'm probably aiming at a 3-hour stream as I mentioned earlier, right? But best opening, they're never gonna have any shonen openings. I hate this thing here. Yeah, I said earlier, but to iterate, I hate that they didn't have opening 2, right? Yeah. I bet my throat. Yeah, they skipped over opening 2. Very, very stupid, right? Negative, that's a good opening. Rumbling is, I think, easily winner here then. But I will say that I probably do genuinely feel that Rumbling is the best opening last year. That or Spy X... Oh. Or like Spy X Family opening 2. But in this list, yeah, Rumbling. So, but ending. Like, Midas a Darling. Extra comedy. Oh, it's easily comedy, right? Yeah, easily comedy. Then go best film. Worst category, probably. Well, yeah, last thing I want to rant about. Last thing, guys. This will be my last 10-minute ranting, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. The last thing that I realized, I said earlier, but I didn't go into it, that is really dumb, missing here, is best antagonist, right? Yeah, so we have no antagonist thing, and that's really stupid. Removing best protagonist and best antagonist is really, really dumb. Let's make a fun and good image here. I want to get some waifu Makima or something, you know. Or maybe some other evil guy. No, but Makima is pretty good for this. Press on Makima. Oh, look at that. Oof. Look at that, man. Yeah, she's banned. She's banned, right? We shouldn't have any fall animes. No Makima. Yeah, no evil oppas. No, nothing like that. Let's see some other image here. There's some other antagonists that I want to throw in here, guys. Who's not a good antagonist? Draken is an antagonist. Semi-antagonist. I'm just looking through my folders here. Throw out an antagonist from last season. We got Fran. Yeah, Mob is in the list. Yeah, there's no Mob. That's so... Oh my god, there's no Mob. That's so stupid. There's no Mob. There's no Crazy Oneshan. Man, I miss... Man, love you, mother! Man, I love this character. God damn, where's my Butchie? This is my favorite character easily. I love, you know, Crazy Oneshan. God damn it. I loved Oneshan. Holy shit, she was so funny, man. She was like, yeah, Butch, I love you! Big sis is here! Oh, easily the best character, and of course, yeah, so many good scenes to the ignoring because it's so stupid. But yeah, Onisha was the best character. But one not a good antagonist. Here, Dabi, great. Yeah, evil spoiler, whatever. Okay, okay, let's talk about antagonist. That image was morbid. Let's put him over here. Yeah, the dance, Toya dance, baby. But yeah, Macadamia's been awesome. I talk about Dabi here. Yeah, but they had Call of Night ending though, and the ending was she shakes her ass in the champagne. Which I am surprised. I said earlier, I am surprised. I agree with you. Call of Night is a very good opening, and the ending is good too. But I'm surprised to have the ending because is that the ending? That's ending, right? Yeah. I'm surprised to have this ending because this ending is so sexy, right? She gets up and shakes her butt basically for like 10 minutes. Yeah, it's like you're like, why is the ending here? But anyway, the last point I want to make, right? Antagonist, okay? A massive issue not having best protagonist and best antagonist is you don't have bad guys, right? You know what I mean? This is a massive lag in this list. Think about it. It's really stupid, right? They just changed, right, from having best protagonist into best main character. Best main character, I mean, I suppose the main character can be evil, right? Sure. The main character can be evil. But of course, in most animes, the main character is the good guy, right? The good person, right? So having no best antagonist is a massive lack. Because one of the best intriguing parts of an anime or a movie or a game, right, is the bad guy, right? Think about that. This list here completely is ignoring bad guys. Yeah, there's not a single like bad person in this list, right? We is the Toya, you know, because they only have best, supportive character, right? So there's no like dragon, right? So they have the dragon, kind of sidekick of the bad guy, right? You only have the nice Anya, maybe Makima in the way. Makima Oppa, so in a way, yeah. So you only have, you got, let's put Makima here, okay? You can be there, Makima, yeah. So you got character like, you got Anya, right? You got Hayasaka, she's kind of a tail spots. But you got Anya, you got Kage, you got the good people, right? And of course, in the best character, you got, Bodhi, Sato, Eren. It's not a good person, but except Eren, I guess. The only evil person, Eren. Man, that guy is evil. That guy is evil. Okay, Eren is really evil. But everyone else, Lloyd, Marin-chan, right? These are very, very nice people. So yeah, I think it's a very weird lack that they don't have best antagonist, right? Because best main character is mostly just best protagonist. Main character, protagonist, same thing, right? But yeah, the lack of like discussion about who's the best bad guy. I think that's one of the most, interesting parts, right? When we do these animes, and it's sad, not anime, but also video games and so on too, right? Coming into this and looking at, okay, but who is the really sassy bad guy, right? Who is like driving this character? Because some animes, right, they can be a pretty mediocre anime, but they might have a really good bad guy. That even if the anime isn't that good in total, the bad guy is so well written that it makes the anime be watchable, right? And you can have the opposite, right? You can have a really good anime, generally speaking, but a terrible bad guy that actually is like, it's kind of like, if they had a good bad guy, it would be like a much better anime. And the best example of that is probably the Marvel movies, right? The Marvel movies, I don't know what anime, but I think it was example. Marvel movies are notoriously weak on bad guys, right? Yes, they have Ultron, they have Thanos and so on, but if you ignore like Thanos, they basically only have shitty bad guys. Yeah, all of them is just kind of boring. Oh, Obsidian Stain, yeah, he was like great. Oh yeah, what's the guy in Ant-Man? Oh, Obsidian Stain 2, yeah, okay. I don't know, who's the bad guy in Avengers 3? Themselves, I guess. I guess it's like, yeah, it's like the boring version of Baron Zemo, I guess. Yeah, it's boring Baron Zemo. And then it's like, Ronan is the bad guy in Guardian of the Galaxy. Which is usually like a neutral guy in the comics. You get my point. They're all pretty terrible. They're kind of boring, The moves are pretty good, but they're never really driven by having a good antagonist, right? Almost never. Only Thanos. I would say Thanos is the only real interesting antagonist, right, in Marvel. More or less. It is from a longer spectrum, right? And yeah, that to me feels like the biggest lag probably here, right? If we ignore, there's no fall and all stuff, there's no fall and there's no SG and so. But looking at it from a category standpoint, yeah, it is really weird not having any bad guys whatsoever, except Aaron then. No one else is evil, right, at all in this list. There's no, like, main bad guy, the dragon bad guy, the supported bad guy. There's no category for any of these, for example, Chainsaw Man then would be like, Katana Man, Snake Girl, right? And of course, Makima myself is quite evil, right? Makima kills people, right? Makima is definitely an antagonist. So you got that. You got Bleach, right? You got Bleach. Josh coming in, of course, I don't know the head, but then you got Bleach. Summertime Render, right? Interesting bad guy, time traveling, interesting bad guy. Summertime Render. What more do we have? Virgin Road, got this evil mom church thing. Interesting bad guy, right? My Academia has. My Academia over me, so still though. My Academia still though, right? Interesting bad guys, right? We got Shigaraki, we got Toya, we got, etc. So still good bad guys though. But I think the overhaul is probably still my favorite. Of course, Kenosuda watching it. Yeah, but I think that it's a good point to make that while we're on villains or bad guys and villains, yeah, I think the issue with Macadamia is that in the latest season, I think this is great though. Get me wrong, it's great, but it's very focused on the villains and mostly on Shigaraki and All for One. So it's a little bit like they lost their spread of villains and just focusing on like one super bad guy. But in the current season, and I'm the only right, but in the current season, it feels like we're gonna go away from that, and now we have more bad guys again. We got this like new waifu bad guy, like an evil lady bad guy. I don't know her name. Like I think it's Lady Nagagram, something like that. I see tweets about that. I don't think it's her name in anime yet, but she's probably the new bad guy, right? So I think the Macadamia, for a moment there, I think it's really good, but it's like a little bit like it's like one super bad guy, like one monolith bad guy, right? And it might be a little bit interesting when they're fighting like a team of bad guys, right? Typical hero style, 10 heroes, 10 bad guys, right? Like one super bad guy might be a little bit of a stale thing to some extent. But overall, I think that in My Academia, Overhaul, of course, right? He's the best bad guy. I think he's the best with the bad guy. Yeah, he's the most interesting bad guy. That's season 3, right? He was Kenosuda, he was so good. So that's one thing too. I think the My Academia, the apex of their villain was Overhaul, right? But that's what I mean though, right? Why is there no bad guys in this list? Because, for example, in the anime award of that year, Overhaul was one of the bad guys, right? Another bad guy voiced by Suda is Ogata. He was in one list, right? In the next year, right? From Golden Kamui. So it's really weird to hear, and yeah, I'm being like, that to me really feels strange now. That is the biggest miss here, definitely. The complete lack of villains and antagonists, right? It's a big issue, right? Because most animes have conflict, right? Most anime has fights, action, right? So, without giving any of the bad guys any credit for it, that's a big disservice, right? And especially from a writer's standpoint, if you write these animes or these mangas or whatever, right? Of course, it's very important creating interesting villains, right? For example, in Chainsaw Man, we have Katana Man, right? He's like the counter of Denny, saying he's a sword guy, right? In the fight, right? And then we go to Snake, etc. Right? You need the bad guys to have anything working in Chainsaw Man. It's an action anime. Bleach, of course. You need the Quincy's, right? You need someone to come in and fight them, right? Bleach, you need to have the evil bad guys, right? One Piece, you have Kaido, right? You need to have the bad guys. So it feels very strange. Definitely the biggest mistake they made was to not have any villains. It is such a weird thing. Because I think about it now, we're doing this stream, we haven't even, conceptualized at all who was the best bad guy last year, right? Because normally when we do these streams, right? But like last year or whatever, I think we always discuss, who's your favorite bad guy, right? Yeah, I think we always come into discussion, right? Of course, like who is the best villain last year? Who was the most interesting villain? And also you could have who is the most, sympathetic villain, right? Like you understand this guy. He's a bad person. I understand why, you know what I mean? And so on, right? There's many different aspects, right, of who makes a villain. For example, Melina Abyss, right? When they have that cannibalism scene, right? You can discuss that episode, for example, right? So, yeah, that is a massive lack. And the reason why is probably because every goddamn year they couldn't figure out what the word meant, right? I also come back to that, but every year when they have protagonist and antagonist, they would put protagonistic characters in antagonistic categories, right? Because they were evil, right? That was like every year. So I guess they were like, oh no, we can't do that anymore. But why couldn't you just have, best main character, best evil character, right? And then have best supportive character, and then have, best henchman, right? Best lackey, yeah. You could have like, top 10 lackeys, right? Top 10 henchmen, whatever. That I think is kind of funny, yeah. Best evil guy, and then like 10 top 6 top 10 henchmen, lackey, underdog, yeah, whatever. Yeah. Something else, supportive bad guy, yeah. So the guy that isn't the real bad guy, but is part of the bad guy crew. Yeah, henchmen, top 10 henchmen. Come on. It's usually called the dragon, right? The guy kind of, the Darth Vader character, like, yeah. In TV tropes they call it the dragon. So basically you have, the emperor, right? He's the real evil guy, right? And then you have his right-hand man, the guy that kind of fights for him and so on, right? And it's more in the front. That's the dragon, right? The dragon usually is the more, the more active bad guy, right? That is much more in the face of the heroes and fight them and so on, right? And try to stop them. But then he has some kind of evil emperor guy sitting on his throne, right? And be like, yes, evil plan, right? So, separate those two, whatever. Nothing of that, right? That is a massive failure, guys. Massive failure. But anyway, yeah, that's the Crunchyroll rant. Tomorrow, I hope that I'm gonna get my Fire Emblem game, right? Because I'm a big Fire Emblem fan. I know they have removed the Three Houses thing. People are complaining about that already. The game is coming out tomorrow, but people are already ranting about it. People are like, "Where's my Three House waifus?" I don't get it because I haven't played the game because the game coming tomorrow. But I've seen, yes, they removed the school, right, or whatever, right, the college thing. But they have like a new place, and they can still go on dates or whatever, right? So I don't know. You can still go and take your character to make tea with them, whatever, right? But that I'm gonna see tomorrow, right? So I bought the edition, the big edition, right? So I'm gonna unbox, of course, the Divine edition tomorrow. Video tomorrow for that. And then we're gonna stream that, right? So because I love Fire Emblem. It's one of my favorite games. I love the genre, Japanese role-playing games, especially tactical role-playing games. So that's probably the main thing tomorrow. So except for that, like whatever, right, if you're interested in that. Obviously, I think Fire Emblem also fits. Talking about anime, it's very anime, It's waifus and husbandos and it's cute girls. Yeah, it's very, very waifu. Come on, it's like a waifu. Yeah, come on, lackeys would be good. Yeah, lackeys or right-hand man, right? Yeah, hand man. Yeah, I think lackeys would be good. I think lackey would be good. Yeah, like top lackey character. It would be a funny title for it. This guy, Starscream, this Starscream, the guy that betrays them. Starscream always betrays Megatron, that's the thing. He's a lackey that always betrays him. So that's the trope is called, the Starscream. That is the bad guy that always kills the other bad guy or whatever in the end, yeah. So probably not that. Top 10 Starscreams. Top 10 anime character that. One category though would be top bad guys that get a redemption, Like a bad guy that then, swap sides, right, and becomes a good guy, yeah. That bad guy, yeah. That is like, you know what, I kind of want to join the good guys for whatever reason, yeah. They're like classic anime character, right? It's like, oh, it's bad, but no, I'll redeem myself, yeah. Top 10 redemption character. We have a few definitely every year, right? But yeah, tomorrow stream, Fire Emblem. Probably watch Spy Daddies and play Fire Emblem, right? And I hope, one thing I said last year, one thing I hope that the game has, but it probably won't, is maddening, right? Yeah, you gotta watch it in the stores, man. but I'm afraid of though is that it will be too easy. No, but I love playing Three Houses, but I only play it on maddening, right? I want to have like super hard difficulty, so I'm a little afraid of that the next game won't have maddening, because I think maddening was like a DLC thing in Three Houses after like 6 months. And it basically is like super hard, like hardcore mode. So I want to have hardcore mode tomorrow, but I think I have to play some hard. It's probably too easy then. Because I like to grind, I like to sit there and grind my boss. I like to grind, man. I like to sit there and like, how do I perfect this strategy? But seriously though, Fire Emblem Maddening, that was hard. Some of those fights took me like many tries. I played the hardest route. I want to spoil it here, but I played 4 different routes, right? And I played the hardest route on accident. I didn't know how to route. I played the hardest route the first playthrough, And it was so hard, man. The last boss took me like hours to beat, man. I was, oh my god, I kept dying on this like one engaged thing, and it was like, oh my god. It was like, eventually I had basically had Petra dodging every attack for like 3 hours. Yeah, I had one character dodge evading every attack for like 10 minutes, you know. And so I had like an RNG my way to win it. But yeah, I hope you guys like the stream, guys. Please subscribe, share the videos, alright. My rants always fun, right? I'm gonna cut out the best bits, no, but I'm gonna cut out the list, and I'm gonna cut out and talk about the default thing. If there's one thing I think I think everyone agrees, right? Which is, I'm gonna edit this video into that thing is why the F is the no fall anime, right? Yeah, if there's one takeaway from the Crunchyroll award this year is that it's incredibly mainstream, right? Every goddamn category is like Attack on Titan, Spy X Family, Cyberpunk, every category, right? And there's no Bleach, it's Chainsaw of Man, there's no Butcher, and so on. Yeah. If there's one takeaway, it's like there's no fall anime, which is so stupid, and then it's just a bunch of casual animes. Yeah, that's the takeaway. That's the takeaway. Jesus Christ, there's so few animes in this list. There's so few animes, yeah. Do me a favor, someone in the chat after this thing, and write a comment of how many animes are actually in the list. But it probably isn't more than like 20 animes. Probably not even that. It's like 15 maybe. There's so few animes because almost every category is the same 6 animes. This is like one of the few lists that has other animes. So it's only like at most 20 animes. So they have so few animes. Out of like 100 animes, it's like less than 20% in this list, right, of total animes. Definitely. But anyway, guys, you guys have a good day and so on. What is tomorrow? I think tomorrow we only watch Spy Daddies. Because I really want to play Fire Emblem. If I get it tomorrow. But I got an SMS today that I was on this way here. So, because I had to, I wanted to buy again the edition, right? So that's why I had to order it. Otherwise, I can just buy it at the store, right? But that's, I say it here, but every time, right, when I want to buy one of the collector editions, I have to order them usually, right? I order it, months in advance, right? So I have to order it from my store to get the freaking box, right? So hopefully I get the box tomorrow. But it's always an issue that you can't buy it at a normal store. Usually you can't, at least. God damn it, man. The first world problem, man. I wanna buy video games and I can't buy the video game I want, the specific version of it. But anyway, see you guys and have a great day. Oh my god. My video